sense.
Really wanted to dive in.
I thought going out wrestling an alligator last night was a little too crazy for you, but I get it, Florida
Well,
man.
the key is all you have to do is you can hold their mouth shut.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Well, no, because they can go down real good, but they can't go up very well. That's the whole.
And you know this from experience of wrestling alligators.
Well, you can use duct tape. I do have a gator story, but we don't need to talk about it.
What, like driving a gator around?
Well,
That's
too.
your gator story?
But
It's
no.
like, well, you know, in high school, we used to take the equipment from one field to the other, and I would drive the gator.
Caught a gator.
Sure you did.
Well, it was terrifying. It was dumb.
Sure you did. Sure you did.
We're in Louisiana.
Yeah, sure. No, you caught the gator, certainly. I bet you weren't on the...
Me and Jansen did. Yeah, we were. This was a bad idea. It was bad. Venice,
Yeah.
Louisiana.
It's Venice. It's fine. You clearly weren't there. Yeah, I mean, it's easy just to put the duct tape around the alligator.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like, well, just put the duct tape around the mouth of the alligator. It's perfectly fine. It's not that hard, right?
They respond to commands very well, too.
Absolutely.
They're very trainable.
100%. They're a gentle, docile
There's
creature.
a movie called How to Train Your Dragon. I assume that has to be way more difficult than How to Train a Gator.
Yeah, you're right. I would say, well, I don't know. I watched Game of Thrones, and she had those dragons pretty trained.
True.
Okay? Khaleesi had full control of said dragons.
Underrated aspect of dragons, very trainable.
A lot of people don't realize that. It's like dogs, dragons.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
Easier than cats. Easier than cats.
Oh, my God. Yeah, cats, they just don't care. Like, what do you want me to do? Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Oh, you want me to lay here? Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, that's fine. But not because you want me to, because I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just going to lay around. Oh, hey, you're home. Yeah, don't really care. You could be home or not. I'm going to be perfectly fine. Whereas a dog's like, when they coming home? When they coming home? They just left. When they coming home? Staring out the window all day, every car. Oh, it's 7-7. Nope, different car. Oh, it's 7-7. Nope, different car. You walk in, dogs are all excited. Cats are like, oh, you're home? Oh, well, that's cool. I'm just going to lay over here still and do what I got. Dog's like, hey, you want to play? You want to play? What are you going to do? Completely different personalities of your best friend when you walk in. And then the alligator is just like yawning.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. Things like that. All right, let's get into the show. 913-912-4810.
One of us predicted the Florida Panthers, but yes, Sterling's Florida Panthers.
You predicted the beginning of the season.
Correct.
Dylan picked the Florida Panthers to win at the beginning of the season. You picked the Ducks, Sterling? Was it the Ducks that you chose?
I don't think I was
Sharks?
here for that day.
Sharks? Did you pick the Sharks?
I don't believe I was here for that day.
Blues. You picked the Blues to win?
No, that's St. Louis. I would never do that.
That's a good point.
I can guarantee you I didn't pick them.
Pick the Mavericks
I
to win?
picked the Mavericks.
I knew it.
I picked the Mavericks.
That makes sense. That was an easy one. I set it on the tee for you, and you did not get there.
Took me too long.
I led you all the way to water, and you would not drink.
And the last horse
And then
finishes the race.
I had to actually push your head down in the water for you to actually drink.
Hey, but now I learned.
That's fine.
Now I learned.
Yep, and now we can duct tape your mouth. It's much easier to duct tape Sterling's mouth shut than it is for an alligator. Okay. Because Sterling, chomping down is easy. The opening back up, tough.
It's tough.
Just duct tape
It's
that.
tough.
But the Royals get the win last night. It was almost the same score as the Panthers and Oilers. What was that one, 5-1? Last night, Royals 6-1? So it's a little close. They get the win, and it was nice in the first inning. Garcia getting the single to knock in, first of all, Bobby lacing the ball down the third baseline. And then Garcia getting the hit with runners in scoring position, by the way. Bobby at second. And then I thought that was going to be it once Vinny flew out 4-13 to the wall. Yeah. These big parks are really starting to annoy me. And it's not just because it's the Royals. It's just like that should be a home run.
Well, that's out in KC.
Right, 22 of 30 ballparks, it's a home run. And how many times this year have we heard Ryan quote something along the lines of, well, that out for the Royals would be a home run in 24 of 30 ballparks, or it would be out in 19 of 30 ballparks. Doesn't matter. You're not playing in that ballpark. This is the ballpark you're playing in. I've had it up to here, okay? To here, right around chin. I've had it up to here with these huge ballparks and a man hitting one 107 miles an hour off the bat for 413 feet and it being an out. Where Salvi hits at 360. It's a 2-run home run. And
hey, you got to pull it, baby.
I know, but it wasn't even like a wall scraper. It was like, 7-8 rows deep, and Vinny crushed that thing. And it's like, which one should be a home run? The perfect launch angle, squaring the ball up, 100+ miles an hour off the bat, 413, or higher launch angle, didn't get all of it, hitting it 360 feet. Which one's the home run? That's baseball. It depends on where you hit it, obviously. But Salvi then certainly got a hold of one later.
Yeah.
That was the no-doubter. Bobby got a no-doubter in the game as well. So the 3 home runs that the Royals hit, it was nice. Runners in scoring position. They went 2 of 6 on the night. But, I mean, if we can focus on the negative of this year, but if you look at this Royals team, after the first 72 games of the season, they are hitting like 333 with runners in scoring position this year. If you look past all the negative of people focusing on the first 72 games of the season, if you take it just from the Royals, since the first 72 games of the season, every game they've played since then, they're batting 333 with runners in scoring position.
And hitting 3 home runs a game. I think that.
Right.
I think if that
Averaging
continues,
6 runs per game.
Yeah, if that continues, I like the Royals' odds.
Yeah, I think people focus too much on the bad part. And I know we use arbitrary and random cutoff dates for baseball that fits whatever sample size and narrative we're looking for. But I think typically people use first 72 and last 90.
Vinny's on pace then for 162 stolen bases.
That's what I've been saying
Won
all
a game.
along.
Yeah.
I've been saying all along, this guy is so
Got
brilliant.
wheels.
He's 3 for 3. All right, the man has never been thrown out in his career stealing a base. Maybe Michael Garcia could learn something this year. I don't know.
Didn't even get a throwdown. They're like, wow, man, he's too fast.
Hold on.
Too fast.
And by the way, people complaining about coaching, that was coaching. They knew that Jack Leiter, when it's a non-base stealer at first, will not hold the runner and will do his usual slower approach to the plate out of the stretch rather than the different moves he'll use with Bobby or Michael or somebody else in a slide step and a quick pitch and things like that. Jack Leiter will just get into his routine, quick little look over, who cares, it's Vinny, go through and Vinny got the walking lead because they had seen on film that that's what Jack Leiter did all the time. And he was so annoyed when Vinny ends up at second. You could just see that how annoyed he was that, he didn't look over. If he looks over again, Vinny's dead to rights, right? Because he was way too far off first base and started walking even more. But hey, you know what? Pretty good scouting on the coaching staff, But they can't go out there and steal bases for him or, hit with runners in scoring position for them, as Dave Martinez would say. But it was a nice win. We'll see what they do tonight with Chris Bubich going to the mound. Hopefully coming back from a rough outing. Patrick Corbin on the mound for the Rangers, and we'll see if the Royals offense can continue and if Bobby Witt can hit like that in Texas as opposed to what he did last year in Texas in that series, which wasn't great. But they got to win. Anything to take away from this other than, it's one win? It certainly felt a lot like 2024. Like that was a win that we felt like we saw a lot in 2024. Runners in scoring position, they came through with hits. Bobby being an MVP type player, and Lugo looking like a Cy Young candidate. Like that felt like a 2024 win.
It really did. And, it's the benefit, too, of playing a team that struggles just as much as you, if not worse, offensively. And the Royals were able to capitalize early on. And what's funny is even though they had a 6-game losing streak, after they scored the 3 in the first, I'm sure their win probability went way up, considering what the Rangers offense has done this year. And they've got more swing and miss than the Royals do. But I would say that, all season long, we've talked about this offense and how to get them going, who needs to get going. It's been the obvious candidates, but to me it always comes back to the big 3 that they have. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino. Yep. You look for a recipe for success, that's what they had last year. Those 3 drove in all of the runs, and then anything else you got from anybody else was fine. Massey being a league average bat, that was fine. Michael Garcia was a below league average bat, but with the defense, if he could give you a 2-for-4 game, you would take it because you knew that Bobby was hitting 332, Salvi was driving in 100+, and Vinny was driving in near 100+. And so
should have been 100.
It should have been. He missed an entire month and would have had 115, something like that.
Right.
But I would say that this is probably one of the things, too, that was discussed in that players' meeting. And not the other players pointing it out and saying, well, Bobby and Vinny, you guys got to be better, because Vinny has been one of the best hitters on this team for about the last month. But I'm sure those guys, being the leaders that they are, said, it does come back to us. We are the guys that everybody looks to when pitchers are game planning. They say, those three cannot do damage against us. And as great as Maikel Garcia has been, all-star worthy and also statistically the best hitter on this team, he is still not viewed as, well, he's got to be the guy to drive the offense here. It still goes back to those big three, and anything else you get from the other six is good. Like, when you have Salvador Perez, he's not going to do this all the time, of course, but he has 2 home runs. He goes 3 for 4. Bobby homers. I would say they win 9 out of those 10 games. And the one game they lost, it would be that everybody else didn't get a hit. Because those
or the pitching staff just got
or the pitching staff got bombed. Yeah. So to me, that's the difference. You get those 3 guys going, everything else falls in place.
That is the best description. You have to have the big three because they have struggled and they have not done it together in any stretch all season long besides this game. Only 4 guys got a hit for the Royals in this game.
That's crazy.
Only 4 guys. It wasn't Vinny, but it was Maikel. It was Bobby with 2, Maikel with 2, Salvi with 3, Drew Waters with 1.
Yeah. And
Waters could have had 2, but again,
Salvi's 10 total bases helps with his 3 hits.
But point remains, we've been talking about this. We've been talking. I'm making a joke that's not Slugger, it's Singles, the mascot. Because it's great when John Rave gets a single. It's great when Kyle Isabel gets a single, or India, or any of those back-end guys. I'm saying, yes, that is good. But you also can't be getting that only from Bobby and Maikel and Vinny and Salvi. That's not going to be enough. They hit 3 home runs. That's 3 more than they hit the entire past series against the Oakland Athletics.
Crazy.
Right? So this is what we needed to see from the Royals. We need to see some slug, and I don't want to hear it's the K, because Oakland hit 6 home runs at the K, right? So it's not just the K.
Jesse Newell said, who's the player for the A's that's played?
9 at-bats and has
3 home runs?
3 home runs.
Or Jordan Beck for the Rockies.
Yeah.
Is it the Rockies?
Is it the Rockies?
I think it was the
That was
Rockies.
the Rockies, yeah, Jordan Beck.
So he still is tied with the lead for home runs at Kauffman Stadium?
And 9 at-bats. It's not the K, okay? I don't want to hear that anymore. I'm done with it.
Ty France doesn't care if it's the K or not.
But the
It's
point,
just the Royals.
the point remains, no one cares what Kyle Isabel or John Rave or Waters or, quite frankly, what Caglione did. Because what it comes down to is your big 3 or right now big 4 with Maikel. I kind of want to throw Maikel in there because we've now seen the track record this year of Bobby, Garcia, Vinny, Salvi. Those 4 guys, they have to be the focal point. They have to drive the bus if you're Rex Hudler, the Hudlerisms. Those 4 guys are what's going to make this offense go. Anything else you get from the back end of the lineup, that's fine. But those 4, that's the key.
Didn't it feel, it's felt like, and it's at the same time, which was a big deal last night, and we'll see if that will continue. But it's felt like this year that at the beginning of the season, it was Maikel Garcia and Bobby. And Maikel Garcia was batting like 7th. Bobby was batting 2nd. But Jonathan India was struggling. Vinny was really struggling. Salvi was struggling. So there was this gap between Bobby and Maikel Garcia. And even Kyle Isbell started off really well. And it still continued to a certain degree. So it was like Bobby, then the number 7 hitter, then the number 9 hitter. And then Bobby slowed down and wasn't hitting as well. Garcia continued, and then India got hot. And it was like, okay, now Jonathan India's doing his thing, and he's setting up for Bobby. But then Bobby was starting to slump. And it was like, okay, well, now Vinny's getting hot, right? So then India was doing his thing. Then Bobby wasn't coming through. Then Vinny was getting hot. Oh, here comes your automatic out with Salvi up to the plate. And then you got maybe Drew Waters or Canna after that. Okay, here comes Garcia. Okay, great. But then you got another automatic out after that. And then Garcia gets moved up. And Bobby's still struggling. Jack gets called up, hitting the ball hard, but, you know, not coming through at the level that he was at AAA. I think Jack Caglione is a home run away from loosening up and then getting back to the amazing difference with confidence. Because those first 4, 5, 6 games that he played, he was uber confident, hitting 110-mile-an-hour balls. And now he looks a little lost with things that he's swinging at. And by the way, pitchers have the book, and they are hammering him inside. Just going throwing right at his hands. I mean, just like right there, inside, right across the letters, I dare you to hit it. And I actually wonder if, like, guys have their specific routines and guys have their specific spots in the batter's box. I do wonder if Jack, because he's been getting pounded so in that same spot, like, do you step back like 2 inches in the box? You know what I mean? Like, do you slide back just a little bit so that inside pitch is no longer an inside pitch to you? Now that inside pitch is a better chance of you barreling it up. I don't know. I'm not playing at the big leagues, and if that was easy to do, I think they would have done it by now. Okay, so they have just the same amount of ideas as everybody else.
Listen to Jason.
No, don't do that. I take the idea from that with Zach Greinke when he had his 2-home-run game when he was with the Diamondbacks. And he hit the first home run, and then he gets up there, and the pitcher that was in there knew that he was throwing cut fastballs inside, so Zach Greinke stepped back in the box away from the plate so that cut fastball inside was then to him over the plate.
Yeah.
And crushes it to left field because he's like, well, I know where it's going to be, so I'm just going to move back in the box towards, third base away from the plate, and now I'm going to crush that. I'm like, well, why don't other guys do that all the time? Greinke's so smart. But guys have their certain routines, their specific things that they have done and honed. But last night felt like the Bobby, Michael, Vinny, or Bobby, Vinny, Michael, Salvi, whatever the pattern was, that those guys were hitting at the same time. They were the only ones that were getting hits. Vinny even hitting the ball hard. But that's how you get 6 runs, is because those guys together in the lineup were getting the hits, not 2's hot and 7's hot. 1's hot and 6 hot. 3 and 1 are hot, but 2 and 4 are really struggling. 3's going crazy, but 4 and 5 can't get hits.
They had 8 hits in this game. They've had a lot of 8-hit games during this losing streak.
100%, yeah.
But 5 were extra base hits. Again, I know some people they keep the line moving Royals. I love that as well. That's not this team. They're not that deep.
Well, because
you're not that guy, pal.
They haven't been hot at the same time with different guys in the lineup together.
It's so rare.
Right.
It's so rare and to have what that Royals team had. I know everyone wants. It was exciting. Everyone could get anytime they could get a hit. This team's not like that. You have to have slug, especially in 2025, and this is the exact example why. 5 extra base hits scores 6 runs on 8 hits. How many 9, 10, 11-hit games that have produced 1, 2, maybe 3 runs? That's just baseball today. This is what the Royals need to do.
I'm with you. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We'll talk about what the Royals may or may not need to do moving forward. We'll see what Mark Feinsand at MLB.com wrote about. Jim Bowden from, late last week over the weekend, sort of combining those two in what he wrote about. And then Mark Healy on with Soren yesterday, weighing in on his tweet about the Royals in the front office and, that back and forth that took place and, whether they're looking or should be or told to think about. It's a little bit of a Mike Florio in there, which we'll get into and talk a little bit about on the other side of the break. We'll also hear from Ian Rappaport, a Rapper report about the left tackle situation. We'll hear from Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. We'll talk a little College World Series with a crazy 9th inning last night, or yesterday afternoon, I should say. So we'll get into all of those different things coming up here on the other side of the break. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer at noon. Chiefs press conference is coming up at 1 o'clock. More Zone next. Hey, man, if you're out there and you happen to be suffering from things that may be related to low testosterone, maybe you don't know what those symptoms are. Well, I'll tell you, it has to do with energy levels. It has to do with sleeping not as well or, waking up not feeling as refreshed as you used to, production dropping at work, or just motivation around the house to get things done, brain fog. All of those are a part of that. Libido. There are many things, putting on weight, that could be related to low testosterone. If you're a guy in your late 30s, 40s, and older, then testosterone production might be an issue for you, because guys in their early to mid-30s start losing 2 to 3% of their testosterone production every year. That's just the average. It can start earlier than that you start losing that testosterone production every year. If you are curious and wondering what your testosterone level is, go to Heartland Men's Health. You can take the low T quiz on their website at heartlandmenshealth.com, or just simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health. They'll do your lab work with you, have your results within 30 minutes, and then a licensed medical provider will review your results with you and discuss the options, help you make the decision together with their medical team. Cost of the appointment is only $99, and that includes medical consult, T, and PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. You could be back to those higher energy levels, better gains in the gym, sleeping better, waking up feeling more refreshed, more productive at work, no more brain fog, all of that with low testosterone. Heartland Men's Health, successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Jack Johnson hanging out with us. So, big what to do that happened yesterday, and, you know, being addressed a number of different ways. The program had on Mark Healy, who had the tweet, the editor-in-chief of the Rockaway Wave and Gotham Baseball, and past writer for the AP and Baseball Digest online editor. And he had the tweet that I saw that I was like, oh, yeah, makes sense. I could see that, you know. And it was hearing the ownership has told JJ to start thinking about trading veteran talent. And then he goes on to connect it locally to what he covers, which is the Mets, and then say Seth Lugo, which would be the most attractive piece that the Royals have had. By the way, we've talked about Seth Lugo being traded. Yeah. So this ain't like it's something like, oh my God, why is somebody mentioning Seth Lugo? Like, this is what, we've talked about, because we've discussed at what point do the Royals have to move from buyers or maybe sitting in a hold pattern right now to then really making a decision one way or another. Are you buyers at the trade deadline, or are you sellers? And if you're a seller, you've got a nice piece that may be one of the most coveted pitchers on the market in, Seth Lugo. Who would you rather have? Tyler Anderson or Seth Lugo? Who would you rather have? Sandy
Alcantara.
I like calling him Alcantara. Jeff Passam calls him Alcantara or something like that. I'm not sure. I
called him Alcantara's for like 6 years.
Either way, I don't give a damn. Either way.
Hey, Sandy A.
Either way.
That sounds worse.
Yeah,
Sandy A sounds. That's a turkey vulture.
Yeah, trying to change the subject. I don't know that the turkey vulture went by. I think you're just trying to change
baseball
the subject.
reference, Alcantara.
Alcantara. Okay, there you go.
It's right there. Dude.
Yeah, it's hovering. I get it, man.
It
like
smells
a dragon.
fear.
Yes, it's a dragon flying over, just to remind you that you can't train a turkey vulture. So we've talked about like Tyler Anderson or Seth Lugo, Sandy Alcantara or Seth Lugo, and Alcantara's been rough at the beginning of the season. He's been a little bit better lately, so he's got another, maybe 4 starts before you really get into hot and heavy negotiations. If he's going to be moved, like there are some other pitchers that are out there on the market, but I think Seth Lugo would be the most coveted. Does he have team control? No, he's got the player option for $15 million next year. He's more than likely going to opt out. So it's not a surprise that it's like, oh, this tweet goes out. I didn't think anything of it, other than like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, they should be doing that, right? And then you get the Sam Mellinger, response, Mark Healy's response, Sam's response. He's on the program talking about it, and it's one of those things to where it's a report, but not a report. It is a gray area, because to say like, I'm hearing that ownership has told JJ to start thinking. Yeah. There are a lot of qualifiers in there. And it is a sort of playing both sides, because if they trade veteran players, you go, well, yeah, but Mark had that on, June 17th, that he was the one that put that out there. And I don't know him from Adam. I don't know if he would take a victory lap and was like, I told you guys June 17th that this was the case. But if nothing happens, then it's dude, I wasn't reporting that they were going to trade veteran players. I'm reporting that what I've been told and what I'm hearing is that ownership has said, maybe start thinking.
There's the rumblings to potentially start thinking about the potential of maybe.
It's a little Mike Florio in that, well, the Chiefs are at least aware that there's a chance Andy Reid could retire at some point. Well, yes, they are aware that Andy Reid will not be coaching for the next 100 years for the Chiefs. So, yes, you're aware that that's going to be the case. And was JJ told to start thinking about trading some veteran talent? I mean, I think Sam and JJ, I'd believe them if they say, no, that's not true. But also, like, I wouldn't expect them to come out and say it's true. But I also wouldn't want my GM to be told by ownership that he should be doing that.
Yeah.
Because I'd want my GM to already be doing that. Like, you should already be doing that at this point. Not that you're shopping them, but to start thinking about it? Well, yeah. I would say everybody in the front office for the last month and a half should be thinking about, if we have to trade, here are the potential players we can get.
Yeah.
If we have to move veterans, I mean. If we have to sell, here are the prospects we can be looking at. Here are the teams that may need starting pitchers. If we are buyers, here are the teams that we can look at. Here's what it will take to give that up. They should have that a couple of months ago. Hell, you should have that at the beginning of the season, to have all options ready to go. If they sat on their hands with Aroldis Chapman until the trade deadline, they don't have Cole Reagans right now. I mean, they don't have Cole Reagans right now either, but you get the point. They traded him in June, Aroldis Chapman, probably because they were prepared to shop him and other teams that may be interested, or they were prepared to know what to ask for when the Rangers reached out and said, we want to make a deal right now. We need help getting to the playoffs. We don't want to wait another month. We want Chapman. Was it late June that Chapman was traded?
Yep.
We don't want to wait another month. The Royals weren't caught off guard like, oh, crap, who would we want from the Rangers? I'm assuming they probably had an idea that, well, you know, the Rangers need bullpen help, and we got Chapman. So here are the guys we'd like to pinpoint if they, you know, if they're interested. Oh, wait, Chris Young called. Cole Reagans. That's the guy we've looked at. That's the guy we want. We've got scouts that are there. Everything we think about him is still going on. That's who we want. They weren't caught off guard. So this shouldn't be a surprise to really anybody. In fact, I would find it to be an issue if the front office wasn't already having a plan in place for A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, how many different options from now until the All-Star break, until the trade deadline, of many different ways it can go, because there's a lot of maneuvering and jockeying for position that's going to take place from now until, you know, July 14th and later on in July 31st.
Yeah, you want to be prepared for every single scenario and situation. I guess my concern in it, and maybe it's unfounded a little bit, but I just don't think that you're getting a lot back for Seth Lugo, because it is only a rent-a-player. Maybe I'm wrong, and he returns a lot because he would be the premier pitcher on the free on the market. But
I mean, it depends on the rent-a-player and how desperate. Rent-a-player for the A's got him Sean Manaea, you know, because it was the best rent-a-player out there, position player that you could get.
I'm just always concerned by that, because as much as we love the Aroldis Chapman for Cole Reagans trade, it wasn't like Cole Reagans was a super hot commodity. It wasn't like Cole Reagans was this top 3 prospect in the Rangers system.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and Jack, maybe you know a little more than I do in this regard, but I'm almost team, if I'm the Royals and where they're at, if they're even close to contention, I'm probably holding on to Seth Lugo, even with the understanding that he's the premier free agent and trade piece for those front runners. But unless you're getting back a legitimate, cost-controlled game changer, I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the Royals with Seth Lugo also feel a little bit in the same way that they did with Michael Wacha. We can say that he's going to be a free agent. This is last year as a Royal. Who knows? Maybe the Royals, if he has another good year, think we still want him here. I mean, with Michael Wacha, there was probably a few people that thought he's going to opt out. He's going to want a lot of money, and the Royals are going to say, no, I think we're good. We got a good year out of Wacha. We feel good about our pitching development. And they went out there and said, we can't take for granted the consistency. And Seth Lugo, even though he's in his mid-30s, has only gotten better with age, and he's found a way how to pitch getting older at this level. So instead of saying, well, let's try to go hit on a number 5 starter, number 4 starter, we'll have Cameron, Reagans, Wacha, and Bubic next year, why not just run back the same rotation, keep that group intact? So I'd imagine that's what Picollo would be operating with, of we're not viewing him as a guy we have to sell off. We're viewing him as somebody of, if we're out of it, then yeah, he would be a trade chip. But also the Royals are in a different spot than they have been when they were previously sellers. When they were in 2023, 30 games under 500, you can't leverage your players because they'll say, what, you're going to keep him? What is he going to do for your 40-something and 80 team? He's not going to do anything for you. Where the Royals could go to the Dodgers, who need a lot of help, and if they were to choose to sell Seth Lugo and try to get return, they could say, we're not trading for him for anything less than this because we're still in a playoff hunt. We still are 2 games out of a playoff spot. So if you really want Seth Lugo to help you get to the National League West pennant and get back to the number 1 seed in the National League and get back to the World Series, well, it's going to take a lot. It's not going to be, well, we have to settle for your number 5, 6, and 8 prospect because we're nowhere close to contention. The Royals are 2.5 games out of a playoff spot. They are 2 games out of second place in their own division. Even if they lost a few games and they were still within striking distance, you have that going for you. And you also have the point of, we still feel like we can keep him here long term. We're not viewing him as a rental you got to get rid of. It's not like trying to think of one of the rentals out there, like Alcantara, right? He is somebody the Marlins have to move, right? Because he's going to be a free agent. He ain't coming back to Miami. He's had a down year, but they're also nowhere close to contention. You got to move him. That's the difference between those teams that choose to sell. Like Cleveland did it for years. They traded away Mike Clevenger to San Diego and got Franmil Reyes and Josh Naylor, a move to help their team now, but also knew that they weren't going to be able to keep Clevenger long term. They also did in the offseason with Corey Kluber. Like those moves, you're able to leverage other teams if you still are a competitive bunch, which right now at 36 and 38, the Royals still are.
I'll give you one. Tyler Anderson's a rental player.
Yeah.
35 years old. Angels probably aren't going to go into the offseason and re-sign and bring back Tyler Anderson. So if they're out of it, and, they are right around the same record as the Royals, so it ain't exactly like, the Royals are 7 games better than the Angels. Well, not really. We've talked about Taylor Ward and Jorge Soler, and, Tyler Anderson's a name that's been thrown around all season, even when they were, playing well. Like, that's a guy that would be a rental player where the Angels are like, are you really going to keep Tyler Anderson? Is he going to help you be, 500 and not make the playoffs, and then he's going to walk? Where, to your point about Seth Lugo, they could also, and I've brought this up a couple times, they could also Jack Flaherty it.
Yep.
You trade him and then you re-sign him in the offseason like the Tigers did because, you've got some money to spend. And the Michael Wacha thing is interesting because he got an increase in pay. Like, he got a pay raise, but the Royals were the ones willing to do that. And they had the inside track on the negotiations because they had him here last year and worked with him, and he had an idea of what to expect and what the front office and what the organization was like. And so, it almost felt like Wacha was negotiating with the Royals, and that was kind of it. Lugo would be negotiating with every team, certainly the team that he goes to if they trade him, and certainly the Royals as well, because those are the teams he'd be most familiar with as recently as, the last few years. He'd certainly be familiar with the Padres and, maybe some other teams, Mets, and how they run things, but not as familiar as specifically the Royals that he would spend the last 2 years with, or the team that he's traded with that he would spend the last half of the season and playoffs with before, he opts out. Now, if you trade for him and he gets injured, and, it may take him a long recovery, like, maybe not a Tommy John, but, okay, this guy tore his triceps, or this guy messed up his labrum, and, it's not going to be a year-long thing, but he'll probably miss spring training and maybe the first month of the season. Well, then he probably picks up his player option of $15 million, and then he's with the team that just traded for him that year. So all of that stuff is open depending on what happens over the next 25 games, 30, 35 games, which I'm fully of the trust that JJ and the front office have different plans ready to go depending on what happens. If they go 5-20, they ain't buying, and there should be no reason for them to keep Seth Lugo. So yeah, they've got ideas right now of what would happen given the circumstance and given the what takes place over that time.
I would also say too that it matters how you would sell him. If you go 5-20, then there's no defense. You have to trade away pieces where you can get guys in return, help your offense a little bit, and build for next year. But if you trade Seth Lugo when you're 2 games out of a playoff spot and you're kind of hanging around, and even if it was a decent return, I would say there is a above 70% chance he doesn't sign back, because we've talked about all the time the message you send to your clubhouse. Mm-hmm. If you want, I believe that's a way that Michael Wacha came back to Kansas City. Not only because he said he loved the city, he also was in St. Louis for years, so he gets kind of the smaller city feel. It's not the East Coast or the West Coast, But the Royals went out there and bought when it wasn't guaranteed they were going to have a playoff spot. And Michael Wacha went, I love this group of guys. We appreciated the ownership. I asked some of the guys at the All-Star game last year, yeah, they really appreciated going after Hunter Harvey and Paul DeYoung. And even though they were minor moves, it showed we believe in you guys.
Yeah.
If they go out there and add a few pieces to try to help this playoff push, and let's say you get in again, but you lose in the ALDS, you might have a really good pitch to Seth Lugo of, we'll give you the money, and we're still going to try to back you up and help you out to better your career, where some teams, you trade them to and go, yeah, we'll give you the money, but if we're out of it, we may trade you. We'll salary dump somewhere else, and that does matter is what I'm saying. And so that's why with this buying or selling, it's not as simple as, well, we're not going to win the World Series, so sell off everybody. No, you send a message not only to your own team, but also to impending free agents. If you were to make a pitch and say, hey, come to Kansas City, and they go, well, I saw you guys were 500 at the deadline last year and you sold, why the hell would I want to go there? Because that means you just have a losing culture of, we don't believe in you guys, you clearly didn't do enough, and the only time we're going to buy is when you're 20 games over 500. It does matter a lot to players and clubhouses when front office members back them up. You don't want to be reckless with it and just buy when you're nowhere close to contention, but that's why the Royals have to be careful to how they approach the Seth Lugo thing. If you want to buy, you better make sure you get this team enough help, but if you sell, I think it has to be more obvious than, we're 2 games back, we don't believe we can do it.
Also, as we take a break, the job of John Sherman as the owner is to hire people and give them the resources to do their job. Is John Sherman a guy that would, early to mid-early June, go up to JJ in his office and go, hey, JJ, we need to meet because I need you to start thinking about selling some of these veterans? Or would he say, we're trying to figure out where our freaking stadium's going to go, and I trust JJ to do his job because JJ's done his job the last 2 years. He got Harvey, he got DeYoung, he traded Chapman for Cole Reagans. I hired him to do the job. I've given him the resources, and if he comes to me and says, here's what we need payroll-wise, then we'll have a discussion about what that's going on. But I'm not going to Jerry Jones it, or not Jerry Jones it, but Carolina Panthers it, who the owner is for the Panthers at the whole thing, going into the GM and coach and everything. I'm not going to Carolina Panthers this thing and walk in and tell JJ how to do his job. Because if I have to tell JJ how to do his job, then I got to find somebody else to do that job. And I've hired JJ, and I've continued to have him there, so I don't need to be hanging over his shoulders and telling him what he needs to be doing. Because I trust that he's already doing that. And if he's not doing it, I will fire him and find somebody that will do it. That's the point to where I understand why JJ and Sam would be unequivocally false.
Yeah.
That is not happening. John Sherman is not coming to me to tell me that I should think about selling veterans. Because I would trust that John Sherman would look at it and go, I don't need to tell him that.
Yeah.
That's why he's my GM. Because I don't have to tell him that. And if I did, I'd find another GM. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michael, Jack Johnson heading up until 2 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, we'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes will talk. Travis Kelce will speak to the media today. Jalen Watson, Mike Caliendo, and Elijah Mitchell. So it's Kelce. We'll hear from, we were told, and at least there was an assumption, that Kelce at some point would talk, either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And he talks today with Travis Kelce.
Talks
with Patrick Mahomes, I should say.
Over under how many times he gets asked about his weight, diet, in shape, all that stuff.
I'd say over
2.5.
Dude, I was going to put it 2.5.
Let's go!
Yeah, 2.5. I can't reach over that. That's a yay, air high five. About 2.5 is what I would put it at. Over under how many questions that are asked before PR goes. All right, anything else, guys? Last one. Put it at 3.5.
Nice.
3.5. So either 3 or 4 questions, 2 or 3 of those being about his weight and his diet and his off-season training, and then a couple of others about what the offense can be, and then Usher, shuffle him out so they can hurry up and get to Jalen Watson, who will probably get 3 or 4 questions, but it'll be quick because he's not really a talker. There are guys that are talkers, and there's guys that aren't, and Jalen Watson's not really a talker.
Do they give us more questions today so that they can get out faster tomorrow? So maybe a higher over-under of questions allowed today, so that is tomorrow the last day?
Tomorrow's the last day, and it's really just conditioning.
And that is when everyone in that facility, tires screeching, is trying to get to the 40 days away, as Kyle Shanahan would call it, which is true. Yeah. It's not off. You want to keep working, but it is the coach's vacation.
Well, because that like today and yesterday, the practices took place, and then it was like 1 o'clock is when they're going to talk. Tomorrow, they're talking at like 11:15.
Oh, yeah.
Because tomorrow is really just, again, it's kind of conditioning. It's not really practice. It's not really going through a lot of stuff. It's you get there, you do your conditioning, you pass all the conditioning tests, you do all that stuff, you run, you sprint, you do the gassers as Kareem Hunt talked about, and then you get out of here. And then, by the way, 40 days from now, this is what we're going to be doing on the first day of training camp, so be ready. So what we did here, you will be doing when you show up to St. Joe. And if you don't pass that, you will be sitting off to the side during practice until you do pass that. It's one of the things that Andy Reid, does that may be different than other coaches. I have no idea if that's the case. So, to Dylan's point, the practice is over. The conditioning is over. Now I'm meeting with the media, and I'd like to get out of here. I'd like to, I got to go and do whatever, get on a plane later on tonight. I got this. Yes, ask me the questions, 2, 3 questions. Let's go. I'm done. I'm gone. So it's nice that Mahomes and Kelce would be today, as opposed to, and I wouldn't expect that really from Mahomes anyway, because I think Mahomes is willing to meet and do that. I think as the season goes along, it gets a little laborious each and every Wednesday that it's like, all right, meeting with the media again, meeting post-game again.
You can hear them all do that. I mean, Chris Jones,
yes.
you go from
as the season goes along, Chris Jones does get like, all right, I'm tired of this.
It goes from jovial Chris Jones to sleepy, in the words, sleepy Chris Jones.
Yes, exactly right. I said last year, and I'll continue to say it, I would like the everyday defensive player, because we had Tyrann Mathieu, and then it sort of rotated. And the last couple of years, I have said not every day, but every Thursday defensive player, because Mahomes talks on Monday, and then they would give us Tyrann Mathieu on Thursday, which was great, and then mix in a couple of other players from that. And then they did not give us one particular one, and then last year it turned into Thursday's defensive player is now just Chris Jones. He's going to be the regular. So last year, that should be Justin Reed. He's so good. This year should be Trent McDuffie.
Like if you're Bolton.
Bolton doesn't. Bolton's just to the point. Like, and he talks really fast and is sort of nervous there. I think Trent McDuffie elaborates. I think he's thoughtful in his answers. I think he gives you some actual answers. There is even a little pause when McDuffie's like, yeah, and then he talks and answers it.
I have it. Jerry Tillery. After hearing him yesterday, I'm all in on Jerry Tillery.
He's gonna have to be good though.
I don't care if he's good or not, because I know that he can give us a lot.
Well, every 3 weeks, put up Jerry Tillery, but they give you one particular guy every week. And Chris Jones about week 4 gets kind of sleepy. It should have been Justin Reed, and I'd love Trent McDuffie every Thursday. through the summer, and one of the interns working on Sir Petro's show, Gavin was in here, and he goes to UMKC right now. But he's an Arkansas fan. And he went to Blue Springs South. And let me tell you, we are not going to get along.
No. No.
So I thought, he said, I'm from Blue Springs. I said, did you go to South? Did you go to regular Blue Springs at South? I said, get your ass out of here. Never graduate.
Arkansas was enough for me to say I'm out.
But at least he's like a real Arkansas fan, since I know that he goes to UMKC, but he goes to like football games every year and basketball games. And I said, why aren't you in Omaha tonight? I mean, come on, man. If you're a real fan, you'd be in Omaha tonight for LSU and Arkansas.
If Mizzou was there, I'll tell you where I wouldn't be.
On the show?
Well, if they played tonight, I'd just drive up after the show, probably.
Yeah, dude, you got 4 hours to get there.
Yeah,
the game doesn't start till 6. You know what I mean?
I would make it right in time.
Yeah. 1 o'clock is Coastal Carolina and Louisville. And that, did you, by the chance, by the way, any chance? By the chance.
By the chance.
By the
anyway.
Chance. Anyway, by the way, any chance, Dylan, Sterling, you guys see the 9th inning of Oregon State and Louisville?
I did not.
Last night? Oh, dude. That was...
I heard about it.
I mean, the drama that was there. Louisville enters the 9th inning up 3. So they're up 6-3. And it's an elimination game. Oregon State beat Louisville the second game of the World Series, but the first game for both of them. Oregon State ended up walking it off, winning 4-3 over Louisville. And you get that 1-0 start, it's pretty big. But then they lost to Coastal Carolina 6-2. And so now it's an elimination game. Louisville took care of Arizona 8-3, pretty, easy in terms of college World Series standards. 8-3 is a pretty legit score. So they play yesterday afternoon against Oregon State. And Louisville controlled the game for most of it. And so they're up 6-3 going into the 9th inning. And leading off for Oregon State, smokes one to left center home run. Okay, solo shot 6-4. All right. 3 outs and you're moving on and your season survives. And you get to play Coastal Carolina the next day. That's 2-0 so far. So you're going to have to beat Coastal Carolina, twice. Oregon State then gets a single. All right, man on first. And then walks. Guy at second. And then another single that falls in front of the right fielder that was almost caught. So the guy at second starts going back to second. The guy at first has a great read. He's almost at second by the time it falls, right? Because that's in front of him. So the guy at second can't score on that single. He moves up. Now there's bases loaded, nobody out. And it's a ground ball to the shortstop, Alex Alicea. And as the guy at second is running to third, he times it to sort of get right in front of the ball and jump over it while Alicea is charging to turn 2 right under his glove and just rolling out into left center. 2 runs come around to score. You got second and third and nobody out. And now it's 6-6. They have come all the way back. They've got second and third and nobody out. Strikeout. Pop up to first base. 6-6. Leading off the inning in the bottom of the 9th, Alex Alicea, the shortstop that had the air, and works a brilliant walk. I mean, just spitting on some pitches, fouling off strikes, and then a borderline pitch that was a ball that was outside, but for him to take that on 3-2, because you never know if the umpire is going to get excited in the 9th inning and boom, ring somebody up, But it was a great take. He goes down to first. They bunt him over to second. They end up getting, I think, a walk, and then they tried to. Oh no, they bunted him, but the pitcher booted the fielding the ball. He went to go field it, and it bounced off his glove into foul territory. So now everybody's safe. They move over to second and third, a walk, and then Louisville's big hitter comes up, the guy who's been as hot as anybody in America the last month, and he smokes one deep center, and Alex Alicea slides into home and with the walk-off and just lays there with his head on the dirt, and he gets a little bit up on his knees and sort of on his elbows, but he's just there laying in the dirt because you guys played baseball.
Yes.
Can you imagine an elimination game from the College World Series? You've got a 6-3 lead in the 9th inning, and your error is what sends you home an elimination game. you will never forget that the rest of your life. The fan base would never forget that. They'd always be saying, oh, my God, if Alisea just fields the ball, if you just get one out, all you needed was one out.
It's that poor kid from Arkansas a couple of years ago, remember, that could have caught the foul ball and then they lost.
And then they ended up losing that game.
Still haven't won a national championship.
Right.
And they say, like every time they bring up that coach, they're saying that's the only thing missing from his trophy case.
He's got everything in that trophy case, but a national championship. Been one of the best coaches. Arkansas has been one of the most consistent programs. They don't have a College World Series championship. Well, Louisville's reputation is getting to the College World Series and not winning. To the point that people are like, should they fire their head coach, Dan McDonnell, because just getting to the College World Series maybe isn't good enough anymore. That is champagne problems, right? Champagne problems.
As a Mizzou fan,
I'm so tired.
Moonshine problems.
I'm so tired of them going to Omaha and going 0-2. 1-2, 0-2. I'm so tired of them just winning super regionals and getting to Omaha and just getting your hopes up all year. Yeah, that sucks. I know, that sucks. I do understand that point because if you're Buffalo, Sean McDermott, tired of them. Tired of just getting the AFC Championship games and losing. And there are teams that are like, oh, yeah, I'm tired of getting the AFC Championship.
The Jaguars.
Cleveland Browns. Oh, it's so bad to be making the playoffs every year and have the second best quarterback in the NFL under contract and seems like a really nice guy too. Yeah, our quarterback seems like a really nice guy too if you take away all the terrible things he's done. Speaking of, as a Cleveland Browns fan, is what they would be saying. But they move on. They now have 2 wins in the College World Series this year. And then they also revenge, Oregon State walked them off in the first game, and then they walk off Oregon State to move on. And it was just incredible entertainment. The drama, like the anxiety that's there, because, bases loaded and nobody out, and it's 6-6 in the top of the 9th, and you've already given up 3 runs, and you've made an error, and these singles keep falling in, and it's like, we've already gotten walked off by Oregon State. If we blow this game, we'll never live this down. We had a 6-2 lead, then 6-3, then it's 6-4. Now it's 6-6. Like, what in the hell? And for that pitcher, and I don't know his name, but bases loaded, nobody out. He's had 2, hits fall in, sort of like just, one was hit pretty good, but if it hit a little harder, the right fielder's right there. So it's hit pretty good, but then it starts dying. And the right fielder's sprinting, and he can't get there. And short hops it, and that's why the guy at second base ends up just moving up to third. So you got that. Then you get the slow roller to shortstop. You did your job. And the shortstop goes right through the wickets, right underneath his glove. And that pitcher comes back and gets strikeout. The next 2 guys. And then a weak pop-up to first base. That is some stones at that point to make your pitches. Because if you hang one, probably ball game, probably season over. So you've got to throw your breaking pitches. And he was hitting curveballs at the top of the zone, which, good God, man. Think about that. Dylan, you've got bases loaded. Oregon's got all the quote-unquote momentum. You're sitting there trying to find your saliva in your mouth because you could see, the nerves. And you throw a curveball multiple times to the next 2 batters at the top of the strike zone that are strikes. Hang that one. And see they're on a bus or a plane today if you hang that one. But they were all strikes.
Or throw it in the dirt and your catcher can't make a play,
right.
Which is why he's throwing it up in the zone because he's deathly afraid of a pass ball.
Yeah.
Which is even at the major league level, you'll hear commentators say, "All right, this kind of takes away the sweeping slider or fill in the blank with."
Now you got a guy at third, so now you got to be careful with the guy at third. But those high They were, quote unquote, I guess you can call it a high strike if you want to, but they were strikes. But just the way that he was, breaking it off with the curve, and it was just dropping in at the top of the strike zone.
It's a Strasburg.
Yeah. If you swing at it, are you going to pop it up? You can hit over the top? Like, are you going to be able to time that up with your swing, a pitch that comes in at your eyes, and you're like, all right. But for him to do that, and then for the, redemption for that guy to score the run, it was awesome drama. There have been some absolute great games at the College World Series so far. We talked about Gage Wood and the 19 strikeout, no-hitter. LSU trying to go and win another national championship. The SEC trying to win their 6th straight College World Series, which is crazy. They have 2. They'll have a team in the finals no matter what, because it's either LSU or Arkansas will play in the finals against the winner of Coastal Carolina and Louisville. And just the crazy thing about Coastal Carolina, like we joked about, fans wanting to fire their coach because all they do is get to Omaha and then lose. Coastal Carolina's been to Omaha twice. They are 7-2.
Wow.
In Omaha. They went 5 they went 5-2 in 2016 and won the College World Series. And now they're 2-0. It's like they get there and they're like, well, we're here. We might as well win it. There's no reason coming here and losing. We might as well win it since we traveled all the way here. Why not just win the whole thing? Okay, great. Let's do that. And they play today at 1 o'clock, and if they win, they're in the championship series again.
Lou Brown speech.
Right.
There's only one thing left to do, or was it Jake Taylor? My bad.
No, that was it was Jake Taylor.
Yeah.
Yep. It's only one thing left to do. Win the whole bleeping thing. It was Dorn at third base. That was, let's cut through the crap, Vaughn. I only got one thing to say to you. Strike this mother bleeper out. So you
Great
got,
movie.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Really good movie. Sterling, have you seen it? Seen Major League?
Oh, yeah. A long time ago, but yes.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. Long time ago. Watch it again. You know, it still holds up.
You asked. I told you.
I know,
It's been a while.
It still holds up.
Sorry, I didn't watch it last week.
Well, watch it. Watch it this week. Watch it.
Okay, Stained.
Watch it tonight. It's
been a while.
It's been a while. I don't even know. Let's see that. I'll go with your with you there. But Louisville, Coastal Carolina at 1 o'clock, and then LSU and Arkansas should be a fun one tonight at 6 o'clock. Elimination game for Arkansas. LSU wins and they move on. So we might have our series finale tonight. We might know it because Coastal Carolina and LSU were one win away from being the championship series in the finals, which will start on Saturday. So Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday if it needs to go 3 games. So we'll see what happens today. It's been a lot of fun watching and the drama that took place. And yesterday's game was really off. Last night, you know, Arkansas, UCLA, not as much drama. Arkansas jumped out to a 3-0 lead and then led 9-5 or whatever it was over UCLA. I guess they won 7-3, but they were up 3-0, and then it was just didn't really feel like it was all that close. And they took care of business over at UCLA. So we'll see. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. I want to talk about what Mark Feinsand wrote at MLB.com, and he put out 14 players that he viewed that are going to be traded or should be traded at the trade deadline, and the teams with the best fit for those 14 players. There are 2 players that come up in this that he lists the Royals as one of the teams. Now, every single player has 2 or 3 or 4 different teams listed as best fits. It's not one team, you know, because sometimes you'll see those trade deadline primers. One team for every player. Every player that could be traded, what's the one team that they would probably go to? It's 3 or 4 different teams that he lists. The 2 players that he puts that connect with the Royals: Jesus Sanchez for the Marlins, 27-year-old right fielder, left-handed hitter, under team control through 27. So you'd have him the rest of this year, 26 and 27. OPSing in the mid-750s or whatever, mid-700s.
747.
747. That was close. Almost got there. 8 home runs, 7 doubles, nice power. He's only played in 50 games so far this year. I think he missed some time at the beginning of the season. So he's a player that would be on the block with the Marlins. He listed the Guardians, the Padres, maybe? Guardians, Padres, and Royals with Jesus Sanchez. And then the next one was Taylor Ward. Obviously, that's been connected to the Royals for a year now, right? Last summer, it was are they going to trade for Taylor Ward? Last offseason, are they going to trade for Taylor Ward? And they traded for Jonathan India. And Taylor Ward is not having his best season in terms of batting average and on-base percentage, but he already has 18 home runs. Taylor Ward does. Taylor Ward is OPSing at a really good number because he's slugging at a higher level. He's getting on base at 270. Taylor Ward is 31 years old. He plays left field, and he's a right-handed hitter, and you would have him through next year. You'd have him through 2026. So, do you want a natural left fielder in Taylor Ward to come in and play left field for you if Jack Caglione stays in right? Do you want a guy who is a right-handed hitter in Taylor Ward? So you'd have a natural left fielder that's a right-handed hitter when you've got a bunch of lefties in your lineup already anyway. But you only have him until through next year, and he's 31 years old. and he's got a higher strikeout percentage than Jesus Sanchez and a lower walk percentage, but more power, more slug, because, again, 18 home runs already.
He has 18, and I will also point out the reason why I'd be a little concerned by the 18. You look at where the expected home runs would be, just again, because the K is a little larger.
Yeah, that's true. What's that, like 390 to center field in Anaheim?
It is. If he played all of his games at the K, it's 10.
Okay.
But if you look at throughout the list, a lot of times you'll see like 24 if it's the Yankee Stadium or like 24 in Cincinnati. The most he would have hit anywhere is 19, and that's in Oakland. So he's maximized, which is very rare to find, by the way. He's maximized. He's not really hit any that should have gone out that didn't.
Can you see Jesus Sanchez with that one?
Yes, give me a second.
He's pull happy. Because Jesus Sanchez is a lefty that's going to hit it more to the right side. What I like about Taylor Ward is he's like 35, 36, 37% is the highest on any particular part of the field.
Yeah, he's all
pull,
over.
Center, right field. He's not just going to be a guy that, he'll hit it to center, he'll hit it to right field. Jesus Sanchez doesn't really hit it to the opposite field.
Jesus Sanchez has 7 so far. If he only played at, which again, it's home and road, only games at Kauffman, it would be 4. The most it would be Baltimore 9. So he's kind of
maximized too a
little bit, but again,
but he's only played 50 games. He has like 80 fewer at bats than Taylor Ward. So maybe he'd have like 10 if he gets those. Maybe in the next 80 at bats, he'll have a couple 3 home runs.
92 fewer at bats.
Yeah, 92 fewer. So in 90, if he has 90 at bats and he hits 3 home runs, then you're like, okay, well now he's got 10 as opposed to Taylor Ward's 18 in what would be close to the same number of at bats. He's got a higher walk percentage, a lower strikeout percentage, better on base percentage than Taylor Ward. He's not exactly a on base machine, but he's better at getting on base, and he's 27 right now. So you'd have him the rest of his 27-year-old season, 28 and 29.
I like
if you traded for him. And well, he's a right fielder, so you could move Jack to first base next year or DH and actually have a right fielder and move Jack to a more natural position because, they say Jack Caglione playing right field is sort of like, well, that's to get him up this year. Are you developing him into your right fielder of the future, or are you playing him in right field because that's the way to get his bat in the lineup this year? If Jesus Sanchez is acquired, he's a natural right fielder, or do you move him to left field and play him there?
For me, I think it's one of those situations where I'm okay either way, whether it's Ward or Sanchez. I'd maybe go Sanchez long-term versus Ward for this particular season, just based on where the Royals are at right now.
Because you'll have a 32-year-old next year in Taylor Ward.
Ward's been on a little bit of a downturn, I think just career-wise, just based on age. Not bad. He had a nice year last year, but still wasn't the same as the overall numbers a couple of years ago.
By the way, Jesus Sanchez has played 34 games in right. He's played 8 games in center and 1 game in left.
I'd probably lean towards Sanchez, again, I think because of age, but either way is fine. We've talked about slug. That's what the Royals need. Even if Ward comes down a little bit back to earth and he's no longer pacing for nearly 40 home runs, maybe he gets that 30 number, 12 more home runs. That's going to be better than almost anyone else on the Royals not named probably Salvi, Bobby, and maybe Vinny.
Sanchez has been consistent in like his OPS. So his 25-year-old season, he OPS at 777. Last year at 731. This year back up to about 750. Yeah. So he's been right around there. And last year's OPS dropped because the on-base percentage was lower. It was like 313. But the year before that, it was up at almost 330. This year is sitting at 330 in an on-base percentage. So yeah, you give me a guy that's going to be getting on base at about 330 and slugging low to mid 400s in outfield. That's proven it over 3 or 4 years in a row for him, as opposed to, wow, Drew Waters is hot and is OPSing mid 700s. Well, this guy has shown you 3 or 4 years that he's OPSing in the mid 700s, and he's 27 years old, which is right into the prime. So you would have him as either an ascending or a plateauing player in his 28 and 29-year-old season, as opposed to you're paying Taylor Ward with 1 more year of team control, and if he's heading in the wrong direction at 31, where's he going to be next year at 32? Are you in a Hunter Dozier, Hunter Renfroe situation with Taylor Ward next year where you're going, God, you traded for him, and I mean, he was fine at the end of the season last year, but now, like, he's OPSing at 700, and you're in the same spot you were before, and you gave this up for
700 still better than the 400 that
right.
Renfroe was throwing
to a
up.
degree, the same spot you were there before, as opposed to what you would be banking on with Jesus Sanchez. But what would it take to get a guy with 2 more years of team control after this year that's got more of a steady track record than maybe Ward going the other way? But Ward has the higher home run numbers, but you point out some of that is benefited by the parks he happens to be playing in when he's been hitting those.
Yeah, well, I would also say that the Marlins have known to get fleeced from time to time, so maybe less.
Although they got Augustus Ramirez for Jazz Chisholm, so they did get a stud in return for Jazz.
Sure, but
Jazz is better. And
you go down the list of JT Realmuto and Giancarlo Stanton and Christian Yelich, and you look at just the returns that D Gordon even. I mean, it's been pretty sparse for the Marlins, but yeah, I think I would lean towards Jesus Sanchez.
I would too, but I'd like him to
higher
play.
walk rate, which is nice. And again, we're talking about the Royals need guys who can slug. They need guys with some pop. That's your John Rave. This would be instead of John Rave, right? That's more or less one for one. It allows Drew Waters to be a bench bat, a guy you can plug and play in the outfield as your 4th outfielder, because nothing against John Rave, but that was somewhat the knock was doesn't have a lot of power. And if he's only going to be hitting in the 200s, it's not going to be good enough for a playoff team.
Out of regular everyday players, Sanchez's 417 slug would be 3rd on this team.
Yeah.
Behind Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt, or flip that, behind Bobby Witt and Michael Garcia. Then it'd be Sanchez, then it'd be Vinny, then it'd be Salvi. Out of everyday players. Taylor Ward certainly up there too with his 18 home runs would be that as well. But even his on-base percentage of 329 would be tied with Vinny right now.
Now the
on-base percentage of 3, not leading or the most on the Royals, because Michael's getting on base at 372 and Bobby's getting on base at essentially 340. But he'd have, he and Vinny would be tied for the 3rd most. So he'd have the 3rd highest slug and the 3rd highest on-base percentage on this team right now if he was putting up the numbers he is in Florida with the Marlins.
The slight issue you run into is the platoon. He's been a platoon guy. Mm-hmm. You see the numbers versus lefties, and it's brutal. I mean, it's you see why they've platooned him. Just something to keep in mind because then you're having Vinny, Cags, him, Isbell.
Right.
And we all agree, I think, for the most part, Drew Waters has traditionally been better batting lefty versus righty. Again,
but if you trade for him, are you playing Drew Waters then?
Well, or Rave, however you break it down.
Well, Rave is also lefty.
You would have Drew Waters as a switch. You'd have Fermin as a righty backup catcher, and then you'd have Lofton as kind of the righty as well. So yeah, you can make it work.
Yeah,
you could still make it work with Jesus.
You'll figure it out. But if I had my druthers, I'd rather Jesus be right-handed. Just so it's.
If I had my druthers, I'd say switch.
Well, I mean, how good is he switch hitting? Because it's like, Drew Waters is a switch hitter. Yeah, but is he though? Is he a guy who can switch hit, or is he a switch hitter? You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy who's much better from the left side, and from the right side he's worse, and from the left side he's okay. It's not like you're not talking about the splits with Ellie De La Cruz, where left side MVP candidate, right side good player.
Yeah.
Drew Waters left side good player, right side no.
Yeah.
Not even a 4A player from the right side. No, not at all. So he can switch hit, but he should be more platooning than Drew Waters can stay in there because he can hit from both sides of the plate. I'd rather there be a right-handed hitter because I feel like there are less of the drastic platoon splits with the righties than there is what we're seeing, in Major League Baseball with lefties that are up there. So thought it was interesting. Those are the 2 names that were mentioned. With the Royals, Jesus Sanchez and Taylor Ward, and we'll see if they end up being buyers, and what's it going to take to get that. It's something that Jim Bowden talked about. What's it going to take to get one of those corner outfielders? We'll talk about that a little bit on the other side of the break, and we'll weigh in on Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt quarterback, who is trying to talk the Vandy's success maybe into existence while also playing really well too. I mean, he's a fun player to watch. And then we watched a rivalry with the Padres and Dodgers do essentially what we just can't get the Royals to do. Just cannot get the Royals to do. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We'll hear from the Chiefs coming up at 1 o'clock, and instead of Elijah Mitchell, it'll be Leo Chenal. So Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Jalen Watson, Mike Caliendo, and Leo Chenal will be talking today at the podium, day 2 of the mandatory minicamp of 3 days, and really just the last practice before training camp starts, tomorrow being the conditioning portion of the mandatory minicamp. We'll hear from the Chiefs tomorrow about 11:15 or so. We'll hear from the Chiefs today anywhere from 12:40 to maybe 1:10.
What if it's 12:39? You'd be a liar.
Anywhere from right now until the end of the show. And if not, then listen into the program because then they're running behind. Let me just say this. It won't be after the allotted time that it's supposed to be. It'll be early because guys are not like oh, yeah, sure, I'll just take my time and go. No, let me get the media session over with.
I want to go
get
home.
This thing done, all right? And then go to the training room, go to the meetings or whatever.
Go to the pool.
Do what I need to do. Golf. Go to the Current game, which you saw the video of all the rookies that were at the KC Current game. That was awesome, dude. They mic'd up Omar Norman Lott, who, by the way, is a big fan of Cooper. Big fan of Cooper, that Omar Norman Lott. Also figured out that it's called a header and not a headbutt.
Oh, with soccer?
With soccer, yeah. Got the headbutt.
Wow.
Then he's like, oh, it's called a header. It's called a header, guys, not a headbutt. A header. But he was fun. It was fun that what the Current put out. Or was it the Chiefs? I can't remember which. I think it was the Current that put out the audio of Omar Norman Lott.
That's fun.
Mic'd up during the game. He seems like a fun personality, by the way.
Yeah.
So I hope he's good.
Breaking news.
Uh-oh. There we go. We couldn't give it without the sounder.
We're not allowed to.
That's
like,
actually
legally
contractually obligated.
We're not allowed to, so I had to wait.
If Dylan wasn't there and he was like grabbing something to eat, we would have just had dead air for 45 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, depending. I don't know.
The thicker kicker.
Yep.
M-I-Z. Harrison Mevis.
No, that's M-E-V.
M-E-V-I-S. Exclamation mark.
Right.
Thicker kicker signing with the New York Jets.
How about that? He was the best kicker in the UFL this year. Went 20 of 21
correct
on his field goals. And now that is parlayed into at least heading to camp with the New York Jets and an opportunity to be a kicker in the NFL. So his contract's a little thicker.
Yeah, nice.
Payday.
The Jets waived Anders Carlson. Is it Anders or Anders?
We know the joke. It's Anders
because he has a hard on.
I get it. Yeah, no,
it's a hard on.
Yeah, it's not. It's not an and. It's Anders.
Anders Carlson was waived, and it looks like Mevis will battle Caden Davis, who was a UDFA out of Ole Miss, so a little SEC.
Oh yeah.
Battle for the Jets kicker spot, but. Pretty cool for him, and I will also point out he was great in the UFL.
Yes.
There's been a track record now of that. If you are a kicker, UFL, not a bad place to be. Brandon Aubrey.
Oh, yeah.
2023 All-Pro.
Interesting, okay.
As a rookie with the Cowboys. And then Jake Bates. He was really good with the Lions as
funny. Dylan pulled up the microphone, and you said Jake Bates, and he went, thumbs up. Yep, that's who you're going to go with.
Dylan was like for Michigan's UFL team, which is hilarious enough. So, yeah.
So,
the
yeah.
game winner
Detroit,
in the UFL championship, then sign with the Lions.
So if you are a kicker, UFL is a good developmental route for you to go, and Mevis looking to make it 3.
Yeah. Maybe not position players or offense, defense, things like that, but maybe special teamers, because if you can kick there, you should be able to. I mean, the NFL's a little bit different when you've got the TV and the
third
fans,
deck, baby.
Right? You got you've got the pressure of a win or a loss meaning a lot more than a UFL.
Mevis knows it just means more.
That's right.
SEC and 61-yarder against K-State.
Right.
That game meant a lot.
Yeah, because he could go to the coach and go, hey, coach, it doesn't matter. You can move us 5 yards back. Kind of like the Bears. You know what I mean? If he was the kicker for the Bears instead of Santos, maybe Eberflus isn't fired at that point. Since he would be like, oh, you can move me 5 yards back. That's fine. I'll do whatever. I'll kick it. That's no big deal. Drinkwitz was like, should we make it more difficult on us? Let's just make it more difficult. It's actually a first down is why this clock stopped.
We want the SEC record, right? We want to have the SEC record. Yeah, let's do that instead.
I thought we called a timeout. Did we not call a timeout? Did we not have a coach that let me know that we didn't call a timeout, that the clock was just stopped?
Oh, that's my job.
Interesting.
I'm the guy that's supposed to call timeout. Shoot.
Alrighty then.
Well?
Cool. Well, you know what? Mevis, go get it done. Go take care of business, man. Go out and get them, all right?
Didn't do the Texas. It's okay. Whatever happens. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
The camera's right here. They're going to make me look like I'm a great head coach.
Yeah.
I'm nice.
Yeah, and he missed, and that's what happens.
I've always said negative reinforcement's key. You know who wasn't missing that kick? Any kicker for Bill Belichick. You know why?
Yeah,
because they're probably cut.
Well, they were also really good, too.
They're also really good.
Vinatieri and Gostkowski, so there's nothing wrong with that. Jim Bowden, since we were talking about Jesus Sanchez and Taylor Ward, Jesus Sanchez and Taylor Ward as names that came up in Mark Feinsand's piece at MLB.com of the 14 players most likely to be moved in their best fits. Royals listed with both Taylor Ward and Jesus Sanchez, if they are buyers at that point. You combine that with Jim Bowden's piece in The Athletic over the weekend of the Royals looking for corner outfield help, but they are finding out that it will, quote, they'll probably have to trade one of their top catching prospects, Blake Mitchell, Carter Jensen, or Ramon Ramirez, to get that corner outfielder. It depends on the corner outfielder that you get. But also, remember, Sterling, we went back in 2015 to the 2015 top 30 prospects for the Royals and who those prospects were. And thinking back to if in 2015 people were going, oh, my God, you can't trade this guy, you can't trade that guy, you can't move this guy, you can't move that guy. Oh, how can you move your number 6 prospect, your number 7 prospect? Oh, you can't touch that guy. This guy's going to be amazing. This guy's going to be awesome. You always overvalue your own prospects and the guys in your organization. And certainly if there's a local connection, then you overvalue them as well. And, yes, if they are going to trade Carter Jensen, I would like them to get a whole lot from him. I do not see them trading Blake Mitchell at all because out of the 3 catching prospects, Mitchell, Carter Jensen, or Ramon Ramirez, Mitchell is the most likely to stay behind the plate because part of his draft was how advanced as a catcher he is as a high schooler. He throws 98 off the mound. He's a good receiver, and all indications are that he will stay at catcher. Carter is improving and also could stay at catcher. Ramon Ramirez has, I would say, out of the 3, the lowest possibility of staying at catcher. He's pretty raw. He's only 20 years old. He's got a good bat. He's a bat-first guy. They're not going to trade Blake Mitchell to get a corner outfielder, unless the corner outfielder is Aaron Judge. Then they'll trade whatever it takes. So that's not going to happen. With that being the case, if it takes a corner outfielder, would it unfortunately take Carter Jensen? And what I would be hesitant about, and again, I offer my bias up at the beginning, that I don't want them to trade Carter Jensen. Local kid, familiar connection, 2 degrees of separation, spent some time with him, been at barbecues with him, was at his high school graduation party. I want him to be successful. I want him to be successful as a Royal, a guy who grew up going to Royals games, dreaming of playing for the Royals and playing at Kauffman Stadium. He's a couple steps away from that, and I think 2026 is on the table for him to make his Major League debut. But if that's what it takes to get a guy with 2 or 3 years of team control that can help you over the next 2 or 3 years, as opposed to helping you late 2026, but then you'd also have team control, but is he going to stick at catcher? They did not maximize MJ Melendez's value. They did not maximize MJ Melendez's value when he was raking and hitting 30-plus home runs in the minors as a catcher. They could have moved him. They didn't. Now you can't move him. The only moving him is going to be AAA or Major Leagues. That's all you're moving him. Right field, left field, AAA, Major Leagues. That's the only moving of MJ Melendez. You will be selling as low as you could possibly sell an MJ Melendez if you moved him right now. Carter Jensen, since May 20th. Sterling, Dylan, interns back there, anybody have a guess as to what the significance of May 20th is for Carter Jensen specifically?
I'd assume got called up to AA.
No, he's played at AA all year.
Okay. He turned 21.
Nope.
We're doing a group project back here.
May 20th for Carter Jensen, what the significance of that date is.
Random day that you pick because it fits your narrative.
No, it does fit the narrative, but there is a very specific thing that happened Because I'll give you the numbers. Since May 20th, 25 games, he's batting .423, he's getting on base at .470, and he's slugging almost .550. He's got a 1.013 OPS. He would be pacing for 60 walks in a season, by the way, which would lead the Royals last year.
Who's that hitting coach? Can we move him to
What's
the
the significance of May 20th? Anybody want to throw a dart?
I've thrown a few darts, and apparently I'm missing the board.
We're going to say... we're going to say new hitting coach. That's a good one. We'll see.
What if I told you that's the first game he played after Jack got called up to AAA? Jack Caglione got promoted to AAA. Carter and Jack, close. Bash brothers batting next to each other in the Royals lineup. Carter was struggling. Jack was getting all the attention. Jack was hitting home runs. Carter was batting 150 or something. Getting on base at a decent amount. Walking a decent amount, but not hitting the way that Carter Jensen expects himself to hit. And everybody was watching Jack Caglione hit monster shot after monster shot. And Carter Jensen went from the power hitting guy in the Royals farm system to watching Jack be drafted and blow right past him as the power hitter in the Royals farm system. And he's hitting next to him in the lineup. Jack gets to call up to AAA. May 20th is the first game that Carter Jensen played without Jack Caglione in the lineup. Now, I'm not saying there was an intimidation thing. There could have been I got to figure it the bleep out.
Yeah.
Because Jack's getting the call up. If you do your work here, you don't have to stay down here just for the sake of staying down here. The Royals are advancing you if you're performing, if you're showing that you're doing the things you need to do to improve, to adjust. I've got to get back to doing what I do. And since May 20th, all he's done is bat .423, get on base at .470, slug almost .550. The power isn't necessarily there with the doubles and the home runs. He's got 6 doubles, 2 home runs, which would pace out to 13 over the season or 38 doubles over a season. But it'd be 135 RBIs since he's got 21 of them in 25 games. He's also got 4 stolen bases. He adds that to the mix too because he's athletic as a catcher. Plays every day at catcher, improving from that standpoint. And again, 60 walks is what he would pace for the course of the season. 60 walks, which would lead the Royals this year and would be, there's only one player since 2021 that has had at least 60 walks in a season. And you'll never guess who it is. There's only one player on the Royals because 2021 Carlos Santana had 80. But since Carlos Santana, there's only one player on the Royals that has had at least 60 walks in a season, and he did it twice. And I think I'd give you 10 guesses, and you wouldn't get there.
Is he still on the Royals?
I'm not going to give you a hint. I'm just going to say
you said so what year
so
was
he's done
this?
it twice.
So since what year?
2021. So starting in 2022. So that's 2022, 23, and 24. That's 3 years. Because this year you wouldn't have 60 walks because you're not Barry Bonds.
Not Salvi, not Bobby.
No, you just start naming names. What would your guesses be?
Well, Vinny would be the one,
Okay.
but I don't think it's Vinny.
So Vinny's one guess. Keep going. It's not Vinny.
Oh man,
it's not Salvi. It's not Bobby. You already guessed those, so there's 3.
Well, those weren't my real guesses.
No, those were guesses.
Those were
That's
names.
who people. If I didn't tell you, you would never guess it. I think Bobby would have been one of your guesses. That you would get there eventually. There's 3.
Not Hunter Renfroe.
Not Renfroe. There's 4.
These aren't guesses.
They are. You're naming names, so I'm putting them as guesses.
I feel like I'm getting
Michael Massey.
Not Michael Massey.
No,
There's
no.
5.
2021.
No, 2022, 2023.
Yeah, I'm saying
And 2024.
Since then, yeah.
Not John Jay. It was traded.
That doesn't count.
Okay, I just want to make sure that
Don't look it up. Don't
I'm
you
not
dare
looking it up.
Sterling.
Why would I look it up? That would
Well,
be.
you're looking at something on your computer. You're
yeah,
pulling something up.
I'm
I
look.
could see Baseball Reference on the
One hand.
on the screen there.
I don't think it's
You're
a
at
current.
5.
I don't think it's a current Royal.
Keep going. Come on, name names. Come on, we got to get this.
We have a guess of Michael A. Taylor from Carson.
That's 6 guesses. No.
I don't think it's a current Royal. Because I don't think
He did it 2 different seasons.
I know, but I don't think it's a current Royal.
I said I'd give you 10 guesses and you wouldn't get it. We're at 6.
Do we go MJ Melendez? I'll go MJ Melendez.
Yeah.
Damn it, 7 guesses. MJ Melendez is the
Well
only
done,
man
Sterling.
that has walked 60
You like
times
that, boys?
since.
Like
I
that,
knew it was gonna
interns?
be like you guessed. It was gonna be someone that we assumed was not ever going to be
But come
close
on, how
to it.
crazy is that? That the only guy since Carlos Santana to have 60 walks in a season is MJ, who did it twice.
I wouldn't have guessed it. If you would have given me the 10 guesses, I would not have had.
But
MJ.
also, if I wouldn't have said it, you'll never guess it, and I'll give you 10 guesses who it is. Well, that takes away the main characters there.
true.
So,
But
but
still counted them as guesses after I said, so then it's not those three guys,
but
which
those
weren't
count-
guesses. My
they were-
real
they were-
guess,
they
that
were-
was number one.
no, because what I did by telling you that, I eliminated probably 4 guys and 4 guesses. So that doesn't. So I gave you. So you already started at 4.
That just feels unfair.
Right. It feels right. It just feels right, is what it does. So if they are going to maximize, if anybody in the Royals organization does not feel that Carter will stay at catcher, this would be probably maximizing what he's doing right now because he's close to a call up to AAA, I would say. If he keeps doing this for another 2 or 3 weeks, what's the point of keeping him at AA and raking?
Yeah.
You did it with Jack. You moved Jack up pretty quickly. So why would you keep Carter down there? He's, working for a call up to AAA. Would this be maximizing his value right now? I am not advocating for that. And again, I offer my bias right out of the gates that I don't want to see him moved.
Yeah.
I want to see him playing catcher for the Royals. That'd be pretty badass. But they didn't maximize MJ. And do they try to not make that mistake again? We'll find out. But Jim Bowden's saying the Royals know it will take one of their catching prospects to get a corner outfielder that's on the market. We'll see what they do. I say trade Ramon Ramirez, the 20-year-old in low A ball. More so next. Dodgers and Padres game, what took place, and leave it to a Missourian, leave it to a Mizzou girl to finally somebody be an enforcer for Caitlin Clark.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Sophie. Somebody finally stepping up. She's been a Caitlin Clark teammate for, 5 minutes. 5 months, but whatever. And she's already enforcing more than what was happening before there with the Fever. we will play it.
They were early yesterday.
It's like 35 minutes earlier,
Yes.
25 minutes early yesterday.
So we shot practice, then went and got some coffee. I was like, I saw Walmart. I need to get some things. Get some eye solution, some deodorant. Went in, got to the back to the facility at 12:40. Everybody is sitting in place. I'm like, I missed it.
Wow, what happened?
They're like, no, but it's coming soon. I go, I put my contacts in, walk out, sit down. 30 seconds later, they bring the first
Chris
guy
Jones walks in
at like 12:44.
Yeah, like we were coming back from break, and we're like, all right, well, let's get this segment done, and then Dylan and I were like, all right, so off the air, like, all right, so they're going to talk at 1:10. Are we gonna catch that on the fly at 1:10? What if it's delayed? Do we need to break between the top of the hour and 1:10? And he's like, Chris Jones is talking right now. All right, let's come back from break and we'll hit Chris. Literally, we were talking about what we do at 1:10, and he was like, Chris Jones is actually just got
done by
1:10
1:10
and talking right now. Yes, they were done
And
at
there
like
was a big
1:04,
break
1:05.
between but waiting for Jerry Tillery of all people.
Right. And I would have liked to hear more from Jerry Tillery. He seemed like a very interesting fella.
Oh, they were wrapping that stuff up by about 4 minutes in.
I was going to say 2 or 3 questions in. All right, the last one. Anybody else?
It's mini camp, and it's Jerry Tillery.
Yeah, and Jerry
Anyone
Tillery.
have any last questions for Chris Jones? No? Okay, let's go.
I know
thank
there's
you.
the space
Anybody else?
between
No, thank you.
anybody else and no. It's
You don't
about
even have
half
time
a
to raise
second.
your
Anybody
hand.
know? Okay.
You're starting to raise your hand. You're like, oh, no, I was just stretching my arm out, I guess.
The
No.
no is actually for you to keep your hand down. They see a hand go.
No,
No.
Anybody
He's
else?
Done.
Mick's raising his hand. Anybody else have a question? All right, we're done.
It's the Kansas City media.
Yeah.
We're not exactly giving these guys the third degree.
Hey,
90%
Travis,
of the
how's you and
questions-
Taylor?
90% of the questions are like, hey, how good have you been? How good do you plan on being? Type questions. It's
How do
not
you
like
feel?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's really the
feel?
questions right now anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
How did you spend your off season? What did you do?
So protective of these giant millionaires, right?
who are contractually obligated anyway.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Jalen Watson, Mike Caliendo, and Leo Chenal will talk
Oh, it
today.
gets better and better. as you
Yeah,
list
so we
them
get
down the line.
Mahomes and Kelce today. We'll see. We put the over. Well, I'll ask you what the over/under would be. We set the over/under in the first hour of how many questions to Travis about his weight or fitness, nutrition, workout. How many questions do you think there? Given that there are a limited
Over-under
number
on
of what would the over/under
I'd
place
set
be?
it at least 3.5.
Oh wow, we
we
put it
said
at
2.5.
I think it's going to exceed 2.5.
Okay.
I was thinking 3 or 4, so that's why I put it there.
What would you put
Three's
the
a
over?
push.
Because there's going to be follow-up. You're counting the follow-up questions, right?
Yeah,
Because if he mentions like a new diet,
Oh,
Not Chiefs.
Oh.
Ravens signed Jair Alexander,
that-
cornerback.
yeah.
free
Wow.
agent.
Okay, good for
good
them.
get for the Ravens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And wait,
the 6 games he plays this year is going to be really good.
do they
the
play
team captain.
Do they play Carolina this year? Right, isn't that where he's from?
Yep, play
Need to make
Carolina.
him
Make it the right
team
thought
captain.
process.
Harbaugh will make him a
We want defense.
We
and,
want
and
defense.
they will tell him defer if we win.
No. Yeah, but defer. It sounds like defense. The first 4
Do you-
letters
wait,
are
time
the
out.
same.
That's even better. Do we think they said like if you do get it, defer? And he goes,
Oh,
they
it's
probably
defense.
meant defense.
Yeah.
They probably meant say
do.
defense.
No Carolina
No.
Panthers this year for the.
I honestly, I don't.
Ravens.
Damn it.
I don't think he's the only one out there that thinks that. By the
Deferred.
way, because almost 100% of the time,
'Cause when you
in
defer,
history,
play defense.
you're playing defense when you defer.
Yeah.
And so
Almost.
yes,
I'd-
almost.
I'd-
It was
man.
was it the Steelers one time, or was it Belichick one time? Did he?
I'm not sure.
It would have
Because
been
of like
he,
a wind
well,
or something.
that
or-
would have been in overtime when he won the coin toss and elected to kick. So a
yeah.
little different deal.
Yeah.
But there is a glitch, I believe, in Remember the Titans in the championship game where they kicked off to begin the game and at halftime.
Well, that's just better coaching.
That's just Hollywood, just knowing more about sports. They know
I was-
so much.
The best is when they get a guy who clearly has never thrown a football before, and they're like, "This is our quarterback. He's the stud athlete," and you see him try and shoot a basketball
Yeah.
too, and you're like, "This guy has never touched a ball in his life."
The best.
You mean like Teen Wolf?
Yes.
That when he turned it into also, well, actually now he is a really good basketball player. Like he sucked. I don't think Michael J. Fox played much basketball. But when he put on the Teen Wolf suit, oh my God, he turned into freaking LeBron.
The best is that Hollywood filmmakers think every block in football results in a guy doing like a backflip, right?
Yes.
You're running downfield, you tune up some DB, and all of a sudden he looks like Simone Biles in midair. Every block, and by the way, the guy who blocked him is still running, and is going to block 4 more guys en route to the touchdown that you have to score before it hits 0 because they'll cut to the clock. Oh, he scored at 1 second.
Billy Bob.
Doesn't matter, by the way. Yeah,
Billy
Billy Bob.
Yep.
You're right. I love that. They always think it has to be as the
Before
time.
0.
It can blows my mind.
But
and also, they score before, then it would be like 0.3 seconds
they
left
put
on
time on the clock.
But how often is it they're getting tackled and they're at the 2 and the knee's clearly down, and then they reach over the goal line, touchdown, and like he's down at the 2. That's not how it works. Just reaching the ball over the goal line does not give you a touchdown. He's down. He's tackled at the 2 and reaches over. Like, stop. I'm with that too.
What I always scratch my head at the remember the Titans. The quarterback revenge move on the linebacker. He lets him go, and then he ducks, and then he flips over the quarterback and ends up hurting himself. I'm like, I don't think that's a thing that's ever been done.
No.
And I'll show this guy. He's coming to sack me, and I'll duck, and he'll get injured, and I win the day.
One of the most realistic football movies, Waterboy. Waterboy might be. I mean, where were you when he came
never
out?
Fell down on a block. He was blocking dudes, and he just kept going. He got faster and faster.
When he came back at halftime and the Gators won the Bourbon Bowl, where were you?
I'll give you the most realistic one. Johnny Be Good.
Johnny Be Good is a great football movie.
Is as realistic as it gets for the
Maybe
high school.
Off the field, it's very
I'm saying
realistic.
the high school stud that every team wants, and what they were doing to take care of him.
Realistic off the field.
But on the field, though, I think there was one. Maybe realistic depending on how good of friends you are with her. But there was a bigger play coming up, and they asked the cheerleader to, something with her outfit.
Sure.
And then started doing kicks, and the other team noticed that, and then they were able to take advantage of those guys not paying attention. That would be realistic. That actually would get your attention if you're a high school kid.
Wildcats, very realistic.
Totally
great
realistic.
Football movie.
Yeah, Sundays in the snow, referee whistle blow. Weekend Warriors toe-to-toe.
UGLY, baby.
One of my favorite.
No alibi.
It's a joke movie, but it's still amazing. Happy Gilmore, when the
Very
car
realistic.
hits him, and then not only the car hits him, he still plays through. The entire TV set falls on the green.
And you got to play it where
You
it
got
lies.
to play it where it lies.
No relief.
I
It's
just
like
love that.
Burns.
And Shooter's response, no, I had a hit off of Frankenstein's fat foot. So that
Which was
also
very
not
dumb. Yeah.
not. I feel like he should have gotten relief. I don't know. Sam Burns
wouldn't
wouldn't
have got relief on either of those.
But
Sorry.
Yeah, you know what?
Play it where it lies. It's on his foot. You were the one that hit it off his foot. You hit it onto his foot. That's your fault.
that one just always made me laugh so hard, though, was the no. I played off. So there's stuff strewn all about the green. You got to play like a putt course, which obviously it's a callback to when he went putting.
Yeah.
And the clown just kept, kicking his
It's
ass.
like Slumdog Millionaire. You use your experience in life to win.
He's in a major golf event, and he got run over by a car, and they just kind of gloss over that.
They gloss over
They just
that
move
so
on
quick.
to the next shot. Yeah. Happens
No,
all the time.
nothing even happened to that guy. He didn't go to jail. He never got caught. He just
I think they got him later on.
Yeah, they
kept
did.
driving.
We'll see what happens in Happy Gilmore 2 if he's like serving time in jail.
Still there.
Kelsey's his lawyer. Well, Kelsey's going to be in Happy Gilmore 2. What's his role? The jackass, it's his lawyer.
I wonder if Shooter's going to be like a
he
good
was
guy,
running
'cause
for his life, and they tried to take him down, but he would not kneel down. What was the Chiefsaholic
the
lawyer?
Lawyer.
Yeah.
They were blitzing.
They were blitzing.
Xavier at every angle, but he would not go down to a knee.
Maybe he should have.
His fans knew that he would keep fighting. And
What if Kelsey plays that role? That'd be great. That
What
would
if
be
he's the
good.
bad guy? Because I wonder if Shooter's such a popular character now.
right, on Twitter
I
and
wonder if
stuff.
they transition. You see a lot in sequels. They transition him to like a good guy role.
Maybe
Or he
there's
teaches.
a new
He
bad
becomes like
guy.
a coach.
He teaches Kelsey how to be bad.
That's right. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
Because being bad is just so good.
What's do we know what the premise of Happy Gilmore 2 is?
Golf, probably.
And
Hockey, oddly
Maybe
enough.
hockey. Yeah, they
I
finally
think
got
he has to afford his daughter's college of some sort.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
So he returns to the PGA Tour?
Correct.
Okay.
I think he's spent all of his winnings from the previous Happy Gilmore.
Okay.
So
You know what?
is Grandma still alive? I wonder.
I mean, I doubt it.
Maybe it's mom at
That's
this point,
rough.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tough
yeah,
question.
it's
That
tough.
was a bad question.
She was
I don't
old
like
back then.
Yeah. Maybe Kelsey
Chubbs,
plays the
right?
role of Frankenstein's fat foot.
Maybe so.
Maybe that's Kelsey in the stands.
Kelsey would be a good
Yeah.
that guy.
That guy that's like, oh, no, I just watched Happy Gilmore do it not 20 minutes ago.
And I'll see you in the parking lot
well,
after
Happy
your round.
Gilmore can go, oh my God. It's Taylor Swift. And Travis Kelce and her boyfriend. It's also her boyfriend is there too.
Do you think the lady who did the happy place will still be the same person? Go to your happy place?
Yeah.
You know what? Who actually was that 30 years ago now? What was it, late 90s?
was it really
Probably
30
not
years ago?
30.
Oh, my
probably
God.
late 90s. You know who actually looks better now? Is Julie Bowen.
Sandler? Adam Sandler?
Julie Bowen.
1996.
Ben Stiller?
Julie Bowen.
Who's
Is
Julie
that the
Bowen?
mom from Modern Family?
Yeah, she was the PR girl. She
She
was
was
the
PR
love,
girl,
the
yep.
love interest.
Yep, telling
Oh,
me.
that's what I was
is
talking about. That's
gorgeous.
You are right. She's 55 now.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, from Modern Family. But you're right.
yeah.
I didn't know that was the same person.
It's a
Same
typical
one.
Adam Sandler love interest. He's a goofball, but to get the girl,
But hold on,
he then
I don't
doesn't have
think-
to be a goofball,
What-
and all of a sudden
What
he
was
gets
her
a girl.
character's name? It wasn't VV, was it?
Uh,
Because in almost every one of his movies, his love interest has the initials VV.
No
I
kidding.
think that is, yes. I think I've heard that.
Veronica Vaughn.
Veronica Vaughn.
Yes, Virginia Vinet.
There you go.
That's weird.
Virginia Vinet.
What was in 50 First Dates?
I don't know if that was one of them. That
Oh.
was
Okay, we're not doing
the
Rotten-
slapstick ones.
We're not doing
I
Rotten
see.
Tomatoes, but we're going to still do it anyways because I have it pulled up. What do we think Adam
Lucy
Sandler's
Whitmore. Lucy Whitmore.
Happy Gilmore's critic review?
Happy Gilmore's
Yeah.
critic.
I actually feel like we
50
did this one.
55.
72.
What does it say there?
It's good. I
can
see your
see the
computer
screen.
right now.
Well, it's not the points. This is practice round.
I'll go 60.
63. Nice.
Yeah,
Dylan,
got
Whitted.
it right, yeah.
Whitted. Your peepers
Yeah,
are good.
Luckily, this doesn't count. So the fans said 81.
I would say fans said 78. Which way are you going to go?
I'll go 75.
85. He could only see the
1 to
5.
1.
He couldn't figure out what was ahead of him.
Yeah, so practicing just like the regular one. Mick finishes last. So this is just
How
like
old
the-
do we think is Frances Bay? That's who the grandma was. She
Yeah,
was
I
born in 1919. Good for her.
I do regret
I
to
don't think
inform
she's with us
everyone.
I don't think
anymore.
she's with
I
us
don't think she's
anymore
with
because
us
if she
Yeah.
was, that would be quite the story.
And also, Jackass guy, Mr. Flaherty passed last year as well. So,
Oh, man.
yeah, we,
Ben Stiller's still
unfortunately,
around.
yeah, Ben Stiller is still around.
He is. He is in this
Yeah,
movie
you just
too.
pulled landscaping duty. Now your back's gonna hurt. Anybody else's fingers hurt? We're just enjoying a little arts and crafts time. Your grandmother's quite the quilter.
Now your back's
It's a little $100. Take care of that little sweet lady over there. You know what
Was
I'm
that
gonna do?
after
You can
Heavyweights?
keep that money, and I'm gonna do what I can to take care of that little sweet lady
Sweet
over there.
angel, I
Sweet
think he
angel over
says.
there. Yes.
So Veronica Vaughn and Happy Gilmore, or in Billy Madison, Virginia Vinet, Happy Gilmore, Vicky Valancourt in Waterboy, Valerie Varon in Little Nicky, and there's another one, Violet Van Patten, and yeah, a lot of them.
It looks like, and maybe I'm wrong here, but according to Happy Gilmore 2 on Rotten Tomatoes website, there's like 5 people who are going to be in this movie. Sandler, Julia Bowen, still going to be in it, it looks like.
God bless her.
Christopher McDonald,
Yeah,
shooter.
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 Ben Stiller,
Okay.
he was Hal, obviously.
Yep.
And John Daly.
Great.
That's the 5 I see right here.
You'll probably play around with him. You'll probably be, teeing up with John Daly. Or John Daly helps him to figure out how to be old and get back on the tour, you know?
Ladder there. It's on the trailer.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I haven't
I haven't
He's the
seen the
one
trailer.
that says that he needs to get back into golf to make
Okay.
money.
By the
There we
way,
go.
how many sports has Adam Sandler portrayed himself really good at in all these movies?
Basketball, golf,
Basketball a couple times.
Hockey.
Football a couple
Football.
times.
football, yep.
Well, I guess he didn't
there's
portray
4.
himself good in hockey. He was bad at hockey.
Yeah, it's
Well, he just
true.
didn't make the team, but he was still a pretty good hockey player. You know, he was tough as nails. I mean, that guy was standing in front of the baseballs. at the batting cage.
364 more days until
right.
hockey tryouts.
Got to toughen up, you know. Gilmore, your name was on that list, right? No, it wasn't, Coach. Well, I guess you didn't make the team then, did you? It's one of the meanest things ever. Like,
It is.
Coach, you didn't call my name. What? I thought for sure your name was on the list, right? No, it wasn't. Then you didn't make the team. God, so mean. Yeah. So we got basketball, football,
Football a couple
golf,
times, basketball a couple times.
hockey.
Has he done baseball? I don't think that's the one sport I'm trying
No,
to
I
think
doubt.
of. And I don't think he does.
Lawyering. It's kind of a sport.
Yeah.
He can always fight.
Being a
He's always punching
firefighter.
people out in every movie.
Yeah, that's true. precious stone collector.
Yes.
That's a game.
Yes, a
Hanging
jeweler.
out with NBA players like Kevin Garnett.
What's the
and stuff
one
like
with
that.
Dave Matthews in that movie?
Don't know.
Punch Drunk Love?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
They're
I've
like
seen that once. but
they're
I
like in
don't remember
Hawaii
seeing it.
or something like that.
Oh, the one with 50 First Dates?
No,
Or-
not 51st Dates. I think he has a couple movies in Hawaii because I think he likes
yeah,
Hawaii.
the one with
Well, yeah.
Brooklyn Decker and Jennifer Aniston. What was
Yes,
that one?
that's the one.
What was that one? That was a good one
I have no idea.
for multiple reasons.
I know the movie.
You know what I'm talking
Just
about?
go with it.
Just go with it. Yep.
Just go with it.
My
is what
wife
it
loves
is.
that movie, so I've seen it a few times.
Because of Dave Matthews, or because of the plot, the story, the acting,
She
the
loves Jennifer.
cinematography?
She loves Jennifer Aniston.
What about the score?
So-
Is it the score that brings your wife to the yard?
You have a TV in your yard?
Yeah, nice job. All right, so let's mark off all of the things that we talked about pre-show that we would get into there. So we nailed all of that.
Happy Gilmore 1 and 2.
And 2. There we go. And we'll come back and we'll talk about what we discussed before the show to get into at 12:25, and that is Diego Pavia and maybe some Dodgers and Padres and maybe a Rapper report as well. We'll do that and whatever else pops into the
bet
stream
we
of
don't.
consciousness of Sterling, Mick, and Dylan. Not me. I'm keeping us on track. That's my main job. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Mick Schaefer. We'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes, Kelsey, Jalen Watson, Mike Caliendo, Leo Chanel coming up at some point over the next probably hour or so, 30, 40 minutes. Scheduled for a 1:10 first talk today, Central Time. Let's hear from Diego Pavia, the quarterback at Vanderbilt, who made a lot of waves last year with how good he was. And, beating Alabama will certainly do that for you. He returns to Vanderbilt. He got a waiver to be able to have an extra year of eligibility. So he's playing one more year with Vandy.
He beat Saban's Alabama?
No. It was a little different than Saban's.
So we're still cashing those checks. Okay.
Well, he's cashing checks.
Yeah, he is.
In the offseason.
The best comment on these posts was no conference has taken more from two teams' success in the SEC. Georgia and Alabama, and they are just living off that and trying to change the rules.
It just means more.
Oh,
it just means more.
It does. I mean,
I don't like to defend the SEC, but if we go back 15 plus years, you have a Florida champion, you have an LSU champion, you have an Auburn champion.
Mm-hmm.
That might be it, though.
But Missouri
in the next 5 years.
Yeah, now that everyone can legally pay players and not just the SEC, it's a little even. Yeah. So now they try and capitalize on the past. Yeah. So,
but you beat Alabama and Auburn at Vandy. You're feeling pretty good, and people are feeling pretty good about you. Now you lost to Tennessee on the road or at home. That was a home game. You lost to Tennessee in that last game of the season. Here's Diego Pavia bussing with the boys. And he was asked about other schools that have been trying to get him to leave Vandy and maybe go to other schools.
Portal blowing up for you on potential teams wanting you to come be the quarterback for them at a different school.
A lot. It was less nuts. It was less reaching out to me. It was more reaching out to my brothers and my family and stuff.
Was there a dollar amount that you heard that was like, holy shit?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to share, but anywhere from 4 to 4.5
to leave and go somewhere else.
To leave.
What conference?
SEC.
Checks out.
Ooh, in conference. Any Big Ten teams trying to get you?
You want to play with the best. You don't want to play with the Big Ten.
Some cats, man.
And you've got...
Wait, where is he now?
He's at Vandy.
He's still at Vandy.
He's still at Vandy.
And he turned down the 4.5?
He said he was
got
offered.
Vandy to match.
Maybe got Vandy to match. Could have been the case.
Morgan Wallen to pony up 4.5.
Yeah, it could have been the case. He's talking to two guys that are in the Big Ten because you've got Compton went to Nebraska and Taylor Lewan went to Michigan. Mm-hmm. So you got two Big Ten guys that if you want to play with the best, you play in the SEC. It's like,
pretty good dig.
And then he was asked about, playing at Vanderbilt and staying there. And he said that now with the changing landscape, Vanderbilt will be one of the big boys.
Vanderbilt's going to run Tennessee after this year. This is going to be the new staple of college football is going to happen here at Vanderbilt.
Do any of you and the boys ever talk about that? We got to be the state school.
Well,
we're in Nashville, Tennessee. We're in the Music City. We need to be the brand of Tennessee.
Everyone wants to come to Tennessee because of Nashville. So they want to come to Nashville, so Vanderbilt. And then when we have the most money in NIL, why not come here? So we literally just have to win this year and throughout the rest of the year. It'll take care of itself.
You think Vandy will have the most money in the game?
I think we'll be up there.
Yeah.
But it's Nashville.
Yeah, there's a lot of big hitters around here.
Yeah.
They just need a team to believe in.
Yeah, that's all they need.
They need Diego Pavia.
So here's the thing. I don't know what the next 10, 15 years are going to look like. With the changing landscape, there could be a team that comes out of nowhere, and it's wow, this team invested all this money. They had NIL on top of the revenue sharing. They put 85% of their money into revenue sharing. We've heard from Goff at Kansas say that basketball might be $5.5 million for the basketball part, which would mean less money for the football program because you're looking at probably the average across the country being around 3.5 to 4 to 4.5 in percentage that will go to men's basketball. And if KU's at 5 and 5.5, That means there's a higher percentage of that money that's going to go towards basketball. But NIL on top of it, you've got to have legit NIL reasons. You got to go through the clearinghouse and all of that stuff. And maybe with the businesses and things like that in Nashville, it could be the possibility. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward, because if you can spend enough money, you can get enough good players. You got to have the coaching too. But I do love the fact that they lost at home to Tennessee last year. They continue to lose. No, after this year, all we got to do is win.
1 year is all we got to do.
We win this year.
And then the rest of history takes care of itself.
We're the big dogs in town in Tennessee.
I will say, if you are a Vanderbilt fan or alum, you at least have to be pretty thrilled with what he's saying, though.
Oh, you love it. You absolutely love it.
I mean, that's the quarterback of your team who's getting offered apparently up to $4.5.
Yeah.
I'm assuming $1 million, not
well, you said
dollars.
Yeah. $4.50.
Yeah. So I think if you're a fan, like if that was the Mizzou quarterback saying stuff like that, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. And people would be laughing at him as well.
Yeah, but that's fair. But you don't really care because you're sitting here going, I don't care. That's my team. That's my school. That's who I want to see be successful and take the next step.
But I do want,
cool.
like, I also wonder too, like, again, Vandy cares a lot about baseball in the SEC. That's what they sort of went, hey, football's tough, basketball's, what can we dominate in? What can we invest in and dominate in? And 15 years ago, they put a lot of money into the baseball program, hired a stud coach, and continue to put money and feed money into the baseball program and facilities and things like that, and they keep getting great baseball players. And they were the number 1 overall seed this year. They did not make it to the Supers, but they've won a College World Series. Are they going to take money away from that to give to the football program? Yeah. They've already said what they wanted to invest in. It's easy to say that now because I think they paid him. So it's well, yeah, we've got all the money. We got the most NIL money that's out there. But it's not about the most NIL money anymore because now it has to be legit. It can't be collective, and now it's revenue sharing. It's different. If it was still NIL Wild Wild West, then I'd say, yeah, if you've got $30 million in a collective every year to go spend, yeah, you can build one hell of a football program and keep it rolling. But it'll be tough to do when it's revenue sharing.
If it goes back to an even playing field, quote unquote, like it was before the handful of years we've had NIL Wild
when
Wild
it goes
West,
back to having to pay under the table.
Right, yes.
Yes.
That's the best way to describe it.
It was an even playing field under the table.
When it goes back to that, I mean, yeah, it takes more than money. Every school has invested in football. Every one, maybe except for Vanderbilt. If it was that easy just throwing money at it, then everybody would be winning titles. It takes a lot more than that. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of smirking it. Hell, this year we go 10-2 or whatever, then yeah, they're set for this is coming from a fan of a team that was 0.001 percentage points away from the national championship game in 2011.
You guys should have been.
And then they've never come close to that again.
They lost to Georgia State last year. I mean, come on.
What?
Yeah, but Georgia's a good program.
They lost to Georgia State.
Georgia State.
Georgia's a good program.
Oh, Vanderbilt. Okay, that was
They lost to the entire state of Georgia?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they have
the
Georgia.
Falcons,
Their non-conference was Virginia Tech, okay, but they had a bad season. Alcorn State, Georgia State, and Ball State. So big heavy hitters that the SEC likes to schedule.
They couldn't beat Mizzou. I mean, I know that. They couldn't beat Mizzou.
Yeah, double OT.
They went and lost to Mizzou, then they beat Bama. That's all I'm saying. Then they beat Kentucky. They didn't beat Mizzou, though.
Like Sterling was saying,
they beat Auburn, not Mizzou.
You want a quarterback to have that kind of confidence. I guess I want it more inner confidence. Your entire team, right? In-house.
But
is
he
what
plays
we're
with that inner and outer confidence.
Yes.
That's sort of who he is. I think that's the Diego Pavia package overall. That you're going to get that guy that plays on the field, and you're going to get the guy that
Probably
talks.
Every quarterback right out there is thinking those things. It's just most don't say it.
On a podcast
is it
in
critical
June,
to say, hey, you can't say this stuff outside of your house? Yeah, maybe. But that's just you open yourself up for people in Kansas City sports talk radio.
For sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it just in the late, maybe mid to late 90s, if you would have said to somebody at that point, hey, man, you know what's going to be one of the premier programs in all of college football? One of the coolest places to go, brand, jerseys, fun style, playing in a national championship, being ranked in the top 10 every year, top 5. Oregon's going to be a powerhouse. Okay, God, Oregon's going to be What have they been ranked like 5 times in the last 20 years? Yeah. Okay, brother. Sure. Good one. Oregon's a powerhouse. Yeah. Okay. Who wants to go to Oregon and play football? They don't have the recruiting grounds at Oregon to play football. I mean, they're not getting the players in Oregon that are from. You got to have a recruiting base in your region to be able to be good at football. And then you get Rich Brooks and Bellotti, and you get Chip Kelly, and Helfrich plays in a national championship, and now Dan Lanning. Like, they've continued to build, and now Oregon, it's no question they're one of the brand names in college football. I'm not saying that's going to be Vandy, but there might be a program in the next 2 or 3 years that in 20 years we go, yeah, they're a brand name program. And if you'd have told that person in 2025, they'd have said you're absolutely dumb.
There's room for a program. Like you said that. When you were listening to that, I'm like, where's he going with this? Who's he say is going to be Clemson? It's probably not Alabama because they were already there. I landed on Oregon. That was maybe the only good guess there in that, like, what other team has done that? Right?
You're right.
College football has just been so top-heavy, elite-heavy. Basketball, you say that same scenario, late 90s, you could name 8 to 10 programs that have, jumped onto the scene.
Mid-90s. Hey, UConn's going to be a blue blood in 2025.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up.
Whatever. But Gonzaga. Wait, who? Where? What is that? Are they in NAIA? What is that?
But I will say some football teams have also in basketball have fallen
Stockton?
out. IU basketball fell out for football. Nebraska fallen out. Miami for the most part has.
It's easier to fall out, I think, for a while.
Florida State
falling
out, and so I do think you're, especially in college football, there's some spots for some teams to really start grabbing it.
I hope so, man.
Big 12 is kind of wide open. K-State, I think if you're looking for a team, K-State could be that team in the Big 12.
Big 12 is falling out.
Big 12 is falling out, but seriously, if you're looking for a team that could step up locally, I think K-State might have the best chance.
Yeah.
Missouri, I think, obviously just being in the SEC, and they've been
means more.
They've been fairly consistent recently as far as what they're building. I've bought into Eli, just how K-State fans have bought into Kleiman and Leipold for KU. But I think the Big 12 is so wide open. If you're looking at it, I think just it's harder for Missouri because of some of the teams you have to go up against. Big 12 being wide open. If you told me K-State is going to be for the next 10 years, they win
6 Big 12 championships.
Yeah,
which would give them 6.
That would surprise me.
That would surprise me. Let's say 3. 2 or 3 over the next 10 years.
Sure.
Over under 2.5 over the next 10 years of winning a Big 12 and going to the college football playoff.
With OU and Texas out of the way,
I'd say
that is a very reasonable goal.
Yes, and that's why I think K-State, if you're a K-State fan, I think you have to be pretty excited about that outlook now.
But if we're talking about like growing into an Oregon out of the Big 12, well then if K-State is that, then it'd be like 5 or 6. They would be they would move into the big
Oregon
dogs
still
of the Big 12.
Have a natty though, do they?
They played for one and they've been
Auburn
in the playoff
and the playoff.
So they've had those things that they've been sort of almost there. So we'll see.
And
if
to your
Vanderbilt
point,
turns
like.
into that.
Probably the reason why that happened is they were also a part of maybe one of the biggest brands in apparel in the history of the world.
That's the way that they could separate themselves.
Exactly.
Be cool, be Nike, pay kids under the table with Nike money, things like that.
Or you're going to get to wear, you'll come to Oregon, member, and they said you won't wear the same jersey combination twice.
I tell you what,
also invest in facilities. Go ahead.
Well, just invest in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
All the the Hawaiian guys they bring in. And just
a lot of those Pac-12
that wasn't a
schools,
thing like it is now in the 1990s. And they found like, this is kind of untapped, and hey, we're closer to home for you. And
Washington too, though.
Oh yeah, all those West Coast Pac-12 schools finally bought in, and that
Oregon,
was a big factor.
I remember Oregon getting in the arms race, like with the SEC and stuff, and it was cool with the jerseys. But then it's like, look at everything they're doing. They're building these new, facilities. They're building dorms and like almost hotel type things for their.
They were the first to do all this stuff.
Right. They put a barbershop into their facilities for their players. Like Oregon, it's like, hey, come, we got everything. We got all of these different things. We got a game room. We got a barbershop.
It's a military base.
Like anytime you want to come down and get lined up, barbershop.
And that
right
was
there.
Before everybody else started doing all those same things.
How do we? And that was where Phil Knight was like, I can invest in these ways without paying the players.
Yeah.
This is like paying the players because I'm investing in getting to attract them here.
And now it's like
you can just directly pay the players.
Yeah, and then what's left at these campuses
Yeah.
to attract guys? Everybody's thought of almost everything.
They go to
here.
the
It's
NFL and it's a lesser facility than what they had in college.
You go to Kansas City,
Right. You go to the Chiefs locker room like, oh, this is it?
Where did we draw the line? Did we do this? Was it like Western Michigan?
Yeah, we did it one time. Yeah, was it the MAC? The Chiefs on the level, Chiefs locker room on the level of the MAC, and what their facilities are and amenities in their locker room. Is that what it is?
Bad MAC.
Yeah,
Team.
I just imagine in the late '90s, the Bulls and Jazz playing each other, and John Stockton doing an interview and saying, "I don't think you guys understand. Gonzaga's about to be a powerhouse in basketball." Whatever, Stockton. How about you win one championship yourself? No, Gonzaga's going to go to Final Fours and play in a national championship. They're going to have national championship teams. They're going to have top draft picks. Like, Gonzaga is going to be a powerhouse. You just watch. Okay, John Stockton, sure. And he would have been right, but he didn't do that because he didn't have belief in his team, obviously.
He did. And my nephew's going to play for him?
I was trying. It was a freestyle route. It wasn't like a route that he was supposed to run. I thought he was going to do something. He thought he should do something else, and then we kind of were off the page. But that's what this is for. You try to learn those things, and if we get that rep in the game now, we know we're going to be on the same page. We talked it through and had that chance to do it on the practice field.
What are your expectations for Travis this year at 35?
Yeah, I expect Travis to be Travis, man. And obviously the play on the field is going to be high. He's going to go out there with the mentality that we're trying to win the Super Bowl this year because falling short this last year. But then I think more than anything, it's the leadership that he brings to the building every single day and how he leads by example and how he leads vocally. It's a big impact on our football team. And so I expect him to play at a high level and then be an even better leader.
Patrick, it's been a while now, but did you have any serious thoughts that Travis might really say this is it after the season? Or how engaged were you with him in that time when he was? We never talked about it.
I think you have that in the back of your mind. I mean, for anybody that's played a lot of football seasons, there's always a chance that if they're going to come back and you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work in the off season. I think everybody wants to play the games, but putting in the work in the off seasons where stuff gets strenuous. And so for him, I think it was just recalibrating, seeing where he's at, and then I mean, from what I've seen, I think y'all can see it, man. He's ready to go. I mean, he's been putting in the work this off season, and he's excited for another chance to make a run at it.
I just figured give him space. I mean, you didn't want to.
No, I don't ever press guys and stuff like that, and I just thought give him space and let him make that decision on his own because you don't want to have regret either way. I mean, if you come back, you don't want to come back and not give everything you have to it, and if you leave, you don't want to leave too soon. So it's a happy medium that you have to find. Hopefully I don't have to find it for a long time, but that's something that every athlete has to deal with in whatever career they have.
Patrick, the outside expectation is that weapons will be healthy, protection should be better this year. When you hear something like that, what can the offense be if all that is true?
Yeah, I mean, I think all you can do is just be better than you were the day before. I mean, obviously, we have an expectation that we're going to go out there and score every single drive, but that comes with a lot of single reps, a lot of practice reps, a lot of time spent with the guys, and so it takes every single person in the building to go out there and have the top offense in the league, and so we have to just go into every practice, every film study, whatever that is, with that mindset that we're going to get the best out of it.
Patrick, this is the first time in a while that you've come into this camp with your receivers having been here the year before a lot of them. Do you notice the difference this time of year with those guys that haven't played in this offense before?
For sure. I mean, I think you saw even at the beginning of last year before Rasheed got hurt. I mean, whenever you have a guy that you've spent that time with and had that connection with, you can hit the ground running because you know those different things. And so seeing that with Xavier this year and Hollywood and Rasheed and Juju and all these guys, man, I mean, they've done a great job of working and continue to work to get even better. And so you can talk about stuff that's happened in prior years, and that's where me and Travis have had so much success is when you get multiple years of reps with guys, you continue to get even better and better on the football field.
Well, Patrick, when you follow up on that, it seemed like a lifetime ago. 3 years ago, you all were the top offense in the league. That was the enemies last year. Last 2 years, even though you won a Super Bowl and went back to the offensive dip, injuries, of course, played a factor in the last season. Would it be a disappointment to you with what you have and what you're seeing in practice right now that you all aren't back where you were 3 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. I mean, you want to be the top offense.
Offense in the league. That was the enemies last year. Last 2 years, even though you won a Super Bowl and went back to the offensive dip, injuries, of course, played a factor in the last season. Would it be a disappointment to you with what you have and what you're seeing in practice right now that you all aren't back where you were 3 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. I mean, you want to be the top offense in the league when you step in the building every single day. But at the end of the day, you want to win the Super Bowl. And so for me, I wasn't as disappointed in not being the top offense as I was at losing the Super Bowl last year the way we lost it. And so our goal is to do whatever we can to win the football game. And hopefully for us, that's being the top offense to go along with the great defense that we have.
The rookies that are on the team now, what have you seen since they've been here and them ascertaining the playbook and getting the reps in with you all? Where would you put them at right now?
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of cool to see. I don't know if it's like an NIL thing or guys staying in college longer, but it's a very mature group. It's guys that come in and they know how to work, they know how to get after it, but they're learning quickly. And so to hear them talk and to hear them do different things, I don't know if they've transferred or whatever it is. They've been in different offenses, but they have a good understanding of football. And so now it's about teaching them how to work to the standard that Coach Reed has. And for any rookie, that's going to be a challenge, but I thought these guys have done a great job of picking up on it.
But picking up a playbook like a Josh Simmons and are they getting it from what you
Josh is doing a great job, man, and he's getting healthier and healthier every single day, and he's doing a great job of learning. I mean, he's getting the ultimate test going against Spags and seeing the blitzes that he's going to see, and so he'll continue to get more and more reps, but he's doing a great job with the whole process, and I'm excited for him to get even healthier going into training camp.
We saw the ring boxes out there. Are those this year kind of a painful reminder of the way the season ended, or a symbol of what the team accomplished getting to the Super Bowl?
A little bit of both. I mean, I appreciate it because I know at the end of my career I'll look back and remember those times with that team. But obviously the ultimate goal is a Super Bowl ring, and so you have a little bit of you appreciate it because you know what you did with that team, but it's a reminder for you to go out there and be even better. I put it this way: I put those like in my safe, and I put the other ones on top of my safe. I keep both, but some of them I showcase a little bit more.
Patrick, what does the next month look for you? I know you probably take some personal time, but how do you stay in tune football-wise over the next month or so?
Yeah, it's a lot of working out. This is like when Bobby gets excited because he knows I'm going to be in the gym working out. And so it's a lot of working out, throwing with some of the guys that will be in town, and then spending some time with my family just because knowing that I'll be in football season and miss a lot of that time. So there'll be a lot of parks and water parks and stuff like that to go along with a lot of football workouts.
You always wish it was a little more time, because it seems like it's shortening and shortening.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how it works, man. It just seems like the off season gets shorter and shorter every single year, but that's part of the process, man. I think Coach Reed's done a great job of kind of pulling back a little bit in some of these OTA type days just to kind of keep guys' legs under them. But I think it's like 4 weeks. I'll spend as much time with my family, try to stay in shape as best as possible, and be ready to go whenever we step on that football field in St. Joe.
A couple more. How many times have you watched Super Bowl? And I guess what did you learn?
I haven't watched it too many times. I mean, we did some like film study, and you do scheme stuff. But you watch it after the game, and you see it in the scheme and stuff like that. You take away the positives, but obviously you got to learn from the negatives. Obviously, the Philadelphia's defense had stuff on us with Coach Fangio that they did a great job of taking away our best stuff, and so learn from that, have stuff to counteract that, and be ready to go this next season.
Let's go last one, Nick.
Patrick, with whether it's Jalen or Josh, how do you work on building that chemistry with them since you guys haven't been on the field together?
Yeah, it takes reps, man. I mean, I think Coach Haig does a great job of kind of putting guys in different spots, getting JT back as well. I mean, you got guys bouncing around from right tackle to left tackle to go along with those 3 to 4 guys in the middle there. And so it's just going to take more and more reps of learning what they do. They learn me, but that's why we get those long drive drills in training camp. You learn those guys and whenever guys are tired and what they're really going to do and what they're going to go to. And so I thought we did a great job this first little set here in OTAs and in mini camp, but it'll be the ultimate test in training camp of getting on the same page with those guys.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, there's Patrick Mahomes, and we'll hear from Travis Kelce. Is he up at the podium, or all right? Let's go to Travis.
Each year is different, man. You gotta rebuild it, and this year got some time to really focus on some form running and some things early on in the off season that I just didn't have time for last year, and certainly feeling good, and I think it'll pay off, man.
I know a lot of people are talking about this, the last dance or something for you, but we've always talked throughout the season, you know, if you lose the Super Bowl or whatever, it's a failure for you. If you come back and win, people keep asking me, are you going to come back? I don't want to speak for you, but have you even thought that far ahead if by chance, you know, you get back to San Francisco next year?
I mean, I got 1 year on this contract. I know that, and we'll try and figure out something for next year. The Chiefs organization knows how much I love them. I can't see myself ever playing anywhere else. So we'll deal with that down the road when the time is right. But right now, I'm focused on winning the championship this year.
So Travis, this year, what are your expectations for yourself then this year? Any difference
Just
than they
to
always
be the
are?
best, to be the best teammate, be the best leader I can. Last year, I think I failed, especially in that last game, and being a leader and being the one that could step up and make plays. So just setting the bar even higher for myself this year than I have in the past.
Other than winning another championship, what would make this season a success for you?
That's the only way I determine whether it's a success or not, man. It's just kind of how I'm wired now. Earlier on in my career, I would set those goals for myself, and I just think it's just more of a genuine feel and the right mentality. Just go out there and try and make every play for my team, whether it's receiving or blocking or doing whatever I need to do.
What did you try to do over the offseason to mentally get yourself ready for another football season?
Mentally, I mean, just as soon as I made the decision to come back, you know, that decision for me needs to be made back in March or early April. Like you set the tone and you put a regimen together that gets your mindset, get your body. And really from there you can start to tweak your skill set, you know. So it's just everything involved. You know, you have to evolve every single year in all phases of the game. So you already know that started back in March, and so far we're on track.
How did you make the decision to come back for another year? How serious were you?
I mean, I love football. I don't think I really thought about it that much. You know, my friends and family and the team and you know, the guys and women in this building. I love coming into work every single day. It wasn't a very tough one for me. I know, you know, I'm getting older, but at the same time, I still feel like I got a lot that I can prove in this league. And with that being said, man, it really wasn't that hard of a decision for me.
We're going to go Sam, Zach, and then Boston.
When you said you failed to be a leader in the Super Bowl, what do you mean by that?
I just didn't make the plays that I thought I should have made. I didn't get open in certain situations. Blocking the right guys, having my attention to detail, motivating my guys to, you know, get the you know, the energy and the focus and the confidence that we needed during that game. You know, and I just in that area, I just felt like I failed my guys.
And then you said you had time this year to do some of that workout stuff. Was that all that prompted you to go through this workout? Or
Well, the biggest thing is just making sure you're out there on the field, being a leader, being the one that's setting the tempo in terms of your work ethic. And I think that is always number one. You got to be able to, you know, walk the walk, as they say, to be able to talk it and preach it to guys. So I think just putting myself in the best situation I can athletically, that's going to pay off down the road in being a leader and being ready for those moments.
What was the process like? You just on this a minute ago. What was the process like when you thought about not playing, and then it sounds like it was really simple in your mind. It wasn't that complicated of a decision.
Yeah, I really didn't feel like it was my last game. Just felt like I got a lot more to prove, and I have so much more fun coming into the building.
This is related, Travis, but that first podcast you guys did right after the Super Bowl, it really sounded like you were going to be torn. That you were really weighing all those things. Are you able to just clarify a little more about right in those few days?
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to let the emotions die down. That was the biggest thing, is that you don't want to make decisions off of initial emotions. But for the most part, once they died down, I still felt like I had that fire in my chest to be able to keep coming in and building and be better and chase another Super Bowl, man.
We'll go Pete and then Matt.
Pat, Andy, the media, they often describe you as a future Hall of Famer. I guess, how do you balance what you've already accomplished with staying hungry and what could be this final year or multiple final years?
It's all I know, man. It's all I know. I get that from the big guy. Coach Reed has set the tone, and he challenges us every single week, every single year to come in and be better than what we were last year. And I kind of just, I don't know, inherited that over the course of being under Coach Reed throughout my 12 years here. It's just, it's a mentality that I know is going to set us up for success down the road. You know, we might not be the same team that we are in preseason, that we are in, you know, late December, early January, and hopefully February. And with that kind of mindset, no matter what you accomplish, you're always thinking about that next play and that next game, being better than your last.
You continue to have more and more on your plate. I know you were in France on Monday. How do you balance all of that schedule, especially just going forward with everything that you have going for you with football and keeping them maybe even separate or better, being ready for football?
Football is always going to be number one. I love this game. It's still my childhood dream. You know, when I really thought about it, I think this offseason I got back to, you know, just wanting to focus more on this game and getting the most out of this game as I possibly can while I'm still putting on the cleats and putting on the pads. So this will always be number one in terms of, you know, my business, you know, world and my career path. And yeah, with that being said, everything else is just kind of, you know, making sure that I'm accountable for the people that I agree to team up with, like the podcast and going over to France.
Did Coach give you any advice as far as how you balance that time during this off season and just kind of giving some time for yourself and say, hey?
I mean, Coach has always given me advice at everything in life. You know, I think he's kind of trusted me in a lot of the aspects, knowing that I've handled it a certain way. But he's also challenged me a lot to make sure that I'm still being the guy in the building for him to be able to, you know, lean on in terms of that leadership. So
we're gonna go last couple, start with Blair.
Travis, we saw the ring boxes set up outside. What will the ring this year symbolize for you?
You know, everybody has their own view on it. Unfortunately for me, I'm only interested in Super Bowl rings. I know what the AFC Championship means to this organization and the family, and you know, the 15 wins and everything is something special that I let everybody else be happy with. Last year wasn't a success for me, and I'm motivated to make sure that we get that other ring this year.
We're gonna go last two, Sam.
Travis, just one more follow-up on your off-season work. Do you already notice the effects of the work that you've put in?
Yeah, and I'm still putting it in. It's going to be a grind. It's going to, you know, that's what I'm talking about. You got to make that decision early in the off-season for a guy like me, because that grind starts now and hopefully it ends in February. And you just keep that consistent work ethic throughout it all, and hopefully throughout the rest of this off-season, going into the actual season, and then towards the playoffs. If we're lucky enough to make the playoffs and make another run at it, you'll keep seeing me get better and better as I plan to.
Last one.
Do you enjoy still coming in the young guys, as you get to be kind of you've been the vet, but to be the older vet in the room now and working with the younger guys? How do you relate to them, and how do you, I guess, put into what it means to be a chief and the level of success you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, they've seen the logo before they got in the building. You know, they understand what type of history and what type of prestige is here, and just, you know, the culture of winning football games. So when you get into this building, you know it's serious. You know we're coming to work, and you know, I think it's not just myself being the oldest guy in the room. It's guys like Chris Jones and obviously Pat Mahomes, Drew Tranquill. You know, Bert. Everybody's really, you know, putting their spin on it, but I think when you get young guys in the building and you get them around this culture, they understand real quick what exactly it takes to be a champion. And, you know, with that being said, I love helping everybody out. You know, it's only going to make us better as a team everybody has that one goal in mind, and sometimes you just need that reassurance when you're that young that you're doing the right things, and you got to keep moving forward. So,
Thanks, Travis.
have a good one, guys.
All right, there's Travis Kelce, and he covered a lot of ground there on his off-season decision, off-season workouts, fitness, things like that. Says that, asked about 25 pounds. He is down some weight, but don't believe everything you read on the internet. You're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City.
I'm amped, dog.
25
I'm
pounds. Not necessarily 25 pounds. I'm down some weight, but don't believe everything you read on the internet. It's a lot of weight.
So you can have fun with those AFC Championship rings.
Yeah, he's down 20 pounds then.
24.
24 and a half pounds. It's not 25 yet. I'm still driving to get there. It'd be great.
The fact that he keeps talking about Super Bowl or bust, all this stuff,
yeah,
I'm amped. This is a guy that clearly wants and understands last year. I'm in.
Yeah, all right. Hopefully Jalen Watson is in for the entire year with health. Here is Jalen Watson.
You can't move your secondary.
I mean, that's what comes with the game. You know, we love Jay Reed. We love the DB room. I've loved every DB room I've been a part, but like I said, that's what comes with it. All the new guys, they're doing a great job. We're just trying to lead all the guys that's been here, show them how we move, how we prepare, and they jumping right along and doing great.
Going into a contract year, I mean, it's a big year for every player. What's kind of your thought process as you're just thinking about planning for and preparing for the season?
Just try not to worry about that. Just control what I can control. Come out, do my part, try to help the team win, and everything else will handle itself.
You've had just some bad luck the last couple of seasons with injuries. How are you feeling now? And I mean, what do you feel like you can accomplish if you get a full season with not having to deal with some of those nagging injuries?
Yeah, injuries are tough. But I'm just blessed to be in the position I am. I know that's what comes with the game. Hopefully I can have a full, healthy season, and we see what happens. But I feel pretty good right now.
What did it mean for you last year when you were injured for a lot of the fans to be sort of clamoring for you to get back, like they're reaching out on social media and so on and so forth, just having you back in the building?
I mean, I felt a lot of support. It felt good. It made me want to come back even faster. Just try to help my team and try to make history. Unfortunately, we fell short, but you know, it's worth a try, and I don't regret anything I did.
Matt mentioned your contract year. What's it meant for you to be a seventh rounder and to really have earned a starting role, you know, on a team in the NFL?
It's a good feeling, but you got to keep it. So each year I try to go in and make a name for myself, and I'll try to do the same this year.
Jalen, I took some footage of Coach Mary yesterday during practice while he was working through. What's it like being you're in the room, but if you were flying the wall, what would fans like to take away from learning under Coach Merritt and Coach Staggs in that defensive back room?
Man, our whole defensive coaching staff is just so great. They've been doing this so long and winning at a high level for so long. We just try to soak in all the knowledge we can. They wouldn't tell us anything wrong, so we have blind faith, always trusting them, and they wouldn't do anything to hurt us. So it's been great. Me and OBC, so we call Coach Merritt. We've had a great relationship. Us in the Fab Five since we've been here. You know, he gave us that name, and it's just been great working under them.
A lot of times teams go through transitions with coaches and coordinators. Being that he's been, you've been here, and they've been here since you've been here. How has it made playing defense easier for you all?
Yeah, it's super easy. He knows, like, whoever's in the game, what we like to do. Spaz does as well. We always have different checks, and different people have different chemistry. But we all just come as one, and it's a lot faster because we're all familiar with each other.
And Jalen, there were a lot of guys last year, Isaiah, Checo, Hollywood, and you kind of rush back to try to help the team. Do you feel like you're going to be different physically this year compared to maybe what you were at the end of last year because of the injury?
Of course, yeah. Being fully healthy will help a lot, I hope.
Where were you late in the season last year? Like, was it, I imagine, still battling through that even after you came back?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard, but it was worth a shot. Like I said, I just wanted to try to get out there and help my team win.
With Christian coming in, you guys are kind of both teammates and competitors in a sense. What's it been like getting to know him, and what kind of a player did the Chiefs get?
Very physical, smart player, has great energy, The whole room loves him, so it should be healthy competition. You know, I've been doing this for 4 years now, so that's nothing new. But it should be fun, and you know, playing in the secondary, you need that depth. Just so if anyone gets hurt or anything, you can have someone come in and step up and, you know, play the role correctly, and there's no drop off. So Noah as well. Noah's looking great. He's a great corner. And then we still have Josh and NJ, so it's great depth.
Last one, Nick.
Yeah, Jalen, do you feel like any of the pressure's off? Because you guys aren't necessarily chasing football entirely with a three-peat. You're just playing ball again.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's pressure. I think Coach Reed and the coaching staff do such a great job at keeping us level-headed, focusing on the next day and the present, and staying away from the outside noise and just controlling what we can control.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, there's Jalen Watson. Secondary should be improved this year. I know a lot of excitement that we've talked about with what the secondary can look like this year with Noel Williams and Christian Fulton, a healthy Jalen Watson. Even though Justin Reed is gone, Jaden Hicks seems like he's filled in admirably and sliding right into that spot. We'll find out, but hopefully Jalen Watson stays healthy. Here is Mike Caliendo.
And starting in the Super Bowl, even though it didn't end the way you wanted to, what was that feeling like afterwards in this experience?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, afterwards it was pretty devastating. But that experience at the end was, I mean, it's invaluable in this league. Going undrafted and getting that type of experience is pretty rare, to be honest. And just look back at the film, do everything you can to learn from it. Failing is growth, and just trust in that.
What was your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, it was not up to the standard for sure, but just continue to learn from it, watch the film with a critical eye, and yeah, continue to grow and learn, and that's the biggest thing. Losing is learning. So.
What have you seen from playing the same position as Kingsley a lot during this summer? What have you just seen from him this summer?
Yeah, he's been awesome. He's been really focused in on like perfecting his craft, and it's been fun to watch him get in there at guard and really do a great job. And it's fun helping him out, and he's helping me out at the same time. So it's been good.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like you're pretty hard on yourself for the way the Super Bowl went. How long does that sit with you, and does it still sit with you even in the summer and heading into training camp?
Yeah, I think I hope I can use it as inspiration for the rest of my life. I mean, adversity like that's not easy to handle, but yeah, all you can do is learn from it and move on.
What did Joe Tooney mean to you last year, and I guess what will the Chiefs miss in him moving on?
Yeah, he meant a lot to me. He taught me so much and took me from the player I was coming out of Western Michigan to being able to start in an NFL game. And yeah, losing him, he was a great, incredible leader. And I know that guys are stepping up already, trying to fill his role in as a leader. And I think the more leaders we have in our room, the better.
What was Jalen like as a player back in school?
Yeah, he's the same now as he was back then. He's a mild-mannered guy, works his butt off every single day, and has fun doing it too. He's awesome.
Sorry, just to follow up on the Tooney thing. Who's stepping up as a leader in that room for you, and why is that?
Yeah, I think I mean Creed and Trey definitely have stepped up as kind of the veteran presences in our room, and they've been doing a great job. I mean, they've both been leaders since I got here. But yeah, I think the more leaders we have in that room, the better.
Different positions, but Josh Simmons being a rookie, you know, when the conversation's been like that, how is he in the room?
Yeah, he's fun. He's a great guy. We've really enjoyed welcoming him into our room, and he works really, really hard. And I know Coach Heck sets a super high standard, and he's doing everything he can to get up to that standard for sure.
Mike, what do you think about competing for the right guard spot going into the season?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think our whole room is just trying to change our best every single day. And that's what our focus is right now, and it will be going into training camp. And I think that's the most important thing, just continuing to bring everybody up and continue to get better.
Left guard.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys.
All right, there's Mike Caliendo, and certainly he is battling for that spot. Disappointed in the way they played, the way that he played in the Super Bowl as well. We'll see what the left guard looks like this year. Jalen Moore, his teammate in college, could be playing next to him out on the field this year. But we'll see who's going to be at left tackle. We'll see who's going to be at left guard. Certainly seems like Kingsley has the inside track to play left guard, and maybe Josh Simmons could have the inside track, or at least who they. I think the Chiefs would like Simmons and Kingsley to be the left tackle and left guard. If they had their choice of everybody healthy and performing, I think they would look at that, the ceiling being higher for those two guys, Simmons and Kingsley at left tackle and left guard.
Agreed. I think if everything goes the way they hope, that would be the case. I'm still thinking, if I had a bet right now, week 1 starter, though, I'd probably put Jalen Moore at left tackle and Kingsley at left guard. I think that's the way. If I were putting money down and I had a bet on someone, I think they would go with the floor option first and foremost with Moore. But again, if Josh Simmons is starting week 1 at left tackle, that means he looks damn good. Because I think Moore, you at least have a pretty solid floor to work with.
Yeah, and so with Kingsley versus Caliendo, I'm not sure what the floor is and who has the higher floor, I should say, between those two. Because Caliendo at times looked pretty rough. I mean, Caliendo in the Super Bowl was rough against the Eagles. Kingsley has only played 1 game at guard. I have no idea what he would look like on a consistent basis. Because there was a game you could pick out last year when Caliendo played left guard, when they moved Tooney to left tackle, that Caliendo probably played fine, where you would look at Kingsley's game against the Broncos and go, oh, he played fine. There's just more evidence of Caliendo having some rough games along the way. So who's got the higher floor between those two? I don't know. And I think that's the problem the Chiefs are going to run into is they know who has the higher ceiling, and that is Kingsley. Because of what they already thought he could be at left tackle.
Yeah.
And they clearly missed on that because they've already moved him to guard.
From the guys that brought you stud left tackle, Kingsley Suamataia.
Here is
the sequel, stud left guard, Kingsley Suamataia.
Guarding the left, starring Kingsley Suamataia.
Yeah, they're one of these away from Boy Who Cried Wolf territory.
Yeah. Also
if
featuring
Caliendo.
There.
Next year, the people who brought you stud left tackle and left guard, Kingsley Suamataia, brings you stud right tackle, Kingsley Suamataia. Then year 4, stud swing tackle, Kingsley Suamataia.
In a world that's guarded by the military and guns, stands one man who will do whatever it takes to guard Patrick Mahomes.
Starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
As Kingsley Suamataia. Nobody's going to touch Patrick Mahomes today. Not if I have anything to say about it. I mean, obviously he's a really good left guard.
Is Kevin Hart Patrick Mahomes then in this? Because if The Rock is Kingsley, and Kevin Hart's somewhere in the movie.
Then they cut to, like, the media people. This team can't find a left guard to protect Patrick Mahomes. In a world.
We're on to something here.
It is.
TM, trademark.
Guarding the left. In theaters. September 9th. I hope that's when they play the Brazil game. It's the first thing that came into my mind. Is it September 9th? I can't remember when they play the first game of the season. Damn it. Should know that off the top of my head by now, right? Hopefully he plays the role of a really good left guard. Kingsley. Also, great get for them to get The Rock. September 5th. Damn it.
4 days off.
That's on that Friday? September 5th is a Friday? There isn't even a football game for the NFL on September 9th. That would be on Tuesday, right? Ugh. September 4th is
dumb.
It's not a schooner, it's a sailboat. A schooner is a sailboat, you dumbhead. So we'll hear from Leo Chanel at some point, who
allegedly
got a lot of love for his play last year. The blocked field goals, obviously. The one against the Denver Broncos helping them win. His ability to assess the weakness of the Denver Broncos special teams unit and where that was, and not give away the plan earlier in the game, not block a field goal earlier in the game or an extra point earlier in the game, thankfully, because the Broncos did not have to adjust because he did not block one until that last one of the game that helped them win. And then in the offseason, he gets viewed as one of the more underrated players. Like he was chosen by PFF as the Chiefs' most underrated player.
Yeah.
Not like the most underrated linebacker, but every single team's most underrated player. He was listed at that by PFF. One particular data point and grading scale. But they liked him.
Real funny. I love asking players that question. I interviewed Dallas Goedert yesterday, and I asked him about PFF, and he goes, well, they've been good to me, so I'll go ahead and say that I actually really like PFF, but the second they start being mean, I'm out.
Yeah. It all depends. Like if PFF loves up a particular player, that agent is going to use those numbers for the benefit of getting a better contract. If they don't love up somebody or they're not that good, according to PFF, it's like these are computer nerds. These are not football people. They don't understand the nuances of the game. They don't understand that this is the play he was actually supposed to be running, and they view it as a negative, and it was actually a positive.
I just love that it's human nature. If it makes you look good, you love it. If Madden gives you a good rating, it's awesome. It's legit. It's realistic. If they mess with you and don't think they give you what you deserve, oh, it's the worst.
I mean,
it's the worst. It's just a video game.
No, it's not.
Just some nerds.
It's not a video game. It's how the Jets assess whether or not they want to sign somebody or trade for somebody. It's not just a video game. It's a scouting department. It's an entire scouting department. The Jets have an entire scouting department at EA. So the Jets are smart. They don't even have to pay them.
That's true.
They don't even have to pay those guys.
That's their scouts.
In fact, EA pays the NFL.
EA Sports.
The players get royalties for that. It's in the game. The players get royalties for that. The Jets don't have to pay a dime for that scouting department at EA. It's great. Smart is what it is. Really smart. I actually think the EA ratings are somewhat pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty accurate, right? I mean, there's some that people may complain about? Like maybe, but I'd say for them. Do you have a complaint about an EA Madden rating?
I just realized
your Madden rating wasn't good enough?
Since we're waiting for Leo, my Madden rating is way too low. Since we're waiting for Leo,
I disagree.
we made the joke of where I was last time we were doing this. I can now say it. Go to Around the NFL with Sterling Holmes.
Yep.
You can check it out on 810. Barry Sanders. I was talking with Barry Sanders. That's who it was.
That nice little name there on the ground that you just dropped.
Well, no, because I can say it now. It was under embargo, and Chad wanted me to. We had a commercial plan, so Chad wanted me to talk about it. That's why. So Around the NFL.
Okay.
If you check that out, Barry Sanders.
Dylan, I bet Chad really had to twist his arm to give himself some credit there.
I didn't do anything.
Chad had to really say, hey, Sterling, I'd love for you to talk about an interview.
He denied
it
like 3 times this morning. I saw it. He was saying, I just don't want to speak about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a modest man.
Chad is I think I'm going to go into the office and tell Chad I'm just not going to mention it at all.
Credit to me for stepping out of my comfort zone and mentioning it. I mean, I just very humble and
credit to you for not mentioning it until Chad told you to mention it.
Well, yeah. And let's be real. Without confidence, all I have is my good looks.
Yeah, but I wonder if Chad was more like checking on Sterling, like. He hasn't mentioned that. Is he all right?
By the way, credit to Sterling.
I hadn't mentioned it, by the way. I had not.
No. I agree. Here's the credit to Sterling for waiting until he was allowed to mention it, and at the first possible chance of being able to mention it, he mentioned it. So credit to Sterling.
First possible chance. I just figured I'll do it since we're waiting for Leo.
What did Barry have to say?
Well, he grew up in Kansas, obviously, at Wichita.
He told us that? Wow.
And
do we have breaking news, Sounder, that he's from Wichita?
He did
say...
Did
he go to Oklahoma State? I'll be damned. If he tells me he went to Oklahoma State, I'm going to be really floored.
He said that he wanted to play on this current iteration of the Chiefs. Shockingly, he probably want to play on that one in his era because they were about the exact same as the Lions. Very, very similar.
I mean, well...
In the playoffs a lot?
Well,
run dominant
but
defensive team,
but not
like
really
Marty Ball.
Winning.
But and you'd say to Barry, it's like, well, I mean, this offensive line isn't that great at run blocking, so it's kind of what you had in Detroit. I know it'd be fun, but wouldn't you rather play with like the Ravens? Right?
I think my favorite thing was the tall tale.
Eagles.
I had to ask him in regards about people used to say he put oil on his jersey because he was so slippery, right?
Right, he did.
And so he goes one time. A referee came up to him and was like rubbing on his jersey and tugging on it, and he was like, "What's going on?" He goes, "Well, the defenders said that you must have had oil on your jersey because we can't bring you down." And he was like, "No, I wasn't." But he goes, "It was very flattering that they thought I was so slippery."
No, that was actually Mark Schlereth that was doing that. It wasn't Barry
Offensive
Sanders.
lineman was doing that.
Mark Schlereth doing that.
So it was pretty fun. He's a very intelligent guy. It was all in regards. He had a heart attack last Father's Day, not this year, but a year ago.
I
No
didn't
one
hear
really
about
knew
that.
about it. No
Yeah.
one knew about it. And so this is his first time really talking about it.
Wow.
So it's
On
pretty cool.
Father's Day?
Not this year, but last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. How about that? Yeah, that's scary. But yeah, so let's do this. We're waiting on Leo Chanel.
We're gonna do our little
a little dance with the Chiefs.
Right,
the rain
we'll,
dance.
We'll
Yeah.
say we'll go to we're gonna go to the bathroom, and then the food's gonna be delivered. So we're gonna go to the break, and then we're gonna bring out the special teams unit, and Leo Chanel is gonna bust through the door like the Kool-Aid Man.
I'll be the Broncos
there's
guard.
Somebody, you guys are kicking it to break. Oh yeah, and he's gonna jump right in front and try to block the kick to break. Let's go to break. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels heading up until 2 o'clock. They're waiting on Leo Chanel still out there at Chiefs facilities. Last sort of practice of the mandatory minicamp taking place today. So tomorrow will be not much. Probably just a check-in for the Chiefs tomorrow before heading off into their last part of break in the offseason before they head to training camp on the insert date here. It is interesting that the players will be leaving mandatory minicamp to head to the offseason of when they have all of this time, and they're like, hey, how many days do you have before training camp starts? Well, we got I don't know, they haven't set a date yet for training camp for the Chiefs. Like, how do we not have a date yet for training camp? It's June 8th. It's going to be a month from now.
Hey, just wing it.
And we don't know what day they'll be reporting.
Hey, you just show up. You're going to get a text someday and say, are you here?
But, the rookies get there a week early or a number of practices early. So, the rookies, hey, well, we got a vacation planned with my family. We're going to be out, the 15th through the 19th of July. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, rookies are actually going to report on the 18th now. We forgot to tell you that. Last year they reported on the 23rd, but we were moving things around, you know what I mean? This year it just makes more sense for us to report that day. It's June 18th. We don't know when they're going to report for training camp.
Sorry, ball is life. No vacations for these guys.
I totally agree. Yes, I mean, this isn't an off season. It's a 365 on season. Right? Go out there and you guys lost in the Super Bowl. If you're not skipping vacations to really get in the gym and work out and lift weights and become better, what are we even doing here?
You can vacation when you retire at 32.
Yes, be done. You made a lot of money.
We're being hard asses right now.
No, we're just being, it's real. You know what I mean? We're being real for the first time. It's like the real world. People stop being polite and start getting real. You know what I mean?
Is that their slogan?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I wasn't a real world guy.
Kyle Brandt, that's how he got his start.
The Real World, I know. The song by Matchbox 20.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the Real World. They bring 8 people together in a house, and you find out what happens when people stop being nice and start getting real. It's the Real World. And Kyle Brandt was on it. We'll take a time out, I guess. We'll come back, and we may hear from Leo Chanel. Also, we'll see what PFF's rankings are of wide receiver groups. I want to get into that, too. If not, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but I want to talk about it today and maybe hear from Leo Chanel. We'll see. Where's on next? I won't hear Leo Chanel today. We'll hear him tomorrow. They are postponing Leo till tomorrow. He is still lifting. And the most Leo Chanel reason to not be at the podium ever is that he's still lifting.
I feel like unlike your MJ Melendez stat, but this would have taken us maybe 3 guesses.
I mean, if that, it'd be like, hey, there's one guy on the Chiefs that is not going to show up to his media availability that day and is going to have to push it to the next day because he's refusing to leave the weight room. Oh, it's Leo Chanel then. Leo Chanel?
Yeah.
It's Leo Chanel. My first 3 guesses are Leo Chanel.
I'd say Leo Chanel, and
LC.
What's the saying? You get 3 guesses and your first 2 don't count.
That's right.
Yeah.
My dad used to say that. I'll give you 3 guesses. Your first 2 don't count. All right. Leo
saying.
Chanel, and Leo Chanel. You got it right. Nice job.
well, then don't you get 5 guesses technically?
No.
If you get 3 guesses and your first 2 don't count, you'd get 5 guesses.
No, your first 2 guesses don't count. You've got 3 guesses. Your first 2 guesses don't count. So you've only got 1 guess.
I think you could actually break this down, and you're getting 5 guesses.
Yeah, well, you couldn't get MJ Melendez in 5 guesses, so it didn't matter at that point.
I did. I got. It was after John Jay.
John Jay was your 7th guess then. And then you got MJ. If you want to throw in John Jay, then that would be you got him on the 8th guess. MJ Melendez.
Shockingly.
College World Series today and tonight. Royals in action tonight, Game 2. They're a game behind the Texas Rangers. They are 2.5 games out of the wild card right now. There are 6 teams ahead of them right now. Seattle, 3rd wild card spot, and then the Guardians, the Red Sox, the Twins, the Rangers, and the Angels. So if they are going to fight back and be in the wild card, the next couple of games against the Rangers are pretty important. Finding a way to get a win, 1 more to take the series there before heading to San Diego, where who knows what the Padres could be. The Padres might be looking at like 5 suspended players by the time they go to San Diego. I don't know, depending on what happens with Padres and Dodgers. You know, they've got they have 2 more games. Do they play? They play tomorrow as well. Yeah, Padres and Dodgers play tonight and tomorrow. So you never know what's going to happen in the series. 4-game series between the teams. Because on Monday night, Dodgers get hit by Dylan Cease. And then last night, in the 3rd inning, the Dodgers hit Fernando Tatis. By the way, nobody out in the 3rd inning. So it didn't take like some special, specific circumstance to say now would be the right time. It was like, 3rd inning, nobody out, let's hit him. And then the bottom of that same inning, Shohei Ohtani comes up. Nobody out. First pitch inside, he has to move out of the way. Second pitch, thigh. Oh, I was just trying. I didn't mean to hit him on purpose. I was just trying to work it inside. You know what I mean? I was just trying to, brush him back. That's how you go against Ohtani, is those inside pitches. And I didn't execute the pitch. Oh, I disagree. I think you executed the pitch perfectly. I don't think you executed the first pitch. The first pitch that he ended up moving out of the way from, I don't think that was executed well. The second pitch, I think it hit bullseye. I think that hit exactly where the catcher's glove would have been if he was setting up where he wanted you to throw it, and you hit Ohtani. It was the bottom of the 3rd, nobody out. Which is interesting because Dodgers get hit and they think it was on purpose. So then they hit Tatis. The Padres are pissed about hitting Tatis, so they hit Ohtani. And the Royals can't do anything with Jazz, who's been talking smack since October, and then says he's going to slap the bleep out of one of your players. You're down by 6 runs in the 7th inning, and you can't hit him. Oh, but you struck him out. Cool, he's done that 50 times this year. I don't think he cares about a strikeout in a particular. Yeah, but we got to boo him and cheer that he struck out. Who was left? Who was there? You're down by like 7 runs. Was that the 10-2 game? You're getting beat. Nobody's there anymore except Yankees fans.
49 times. Struck out 49 times this year.
Oh, so man, imagine if he only struck out 48.
I know.
I bet that 49 strikeout is really killing him.
Really getting to him.
Really getting to him that he struck out in that game against Daniel Lynch. Like, Lynch would have moved up so far in the ladder of just putting one in his ribs.
Yep.
As opposed to, I'm sorry, but he moved down. Wherever he was at that point, he's not at the same point to me. He's further down. He could have been more up. He could have been a rung or 2 up. You put one in the ribs of Jazz Chisholm. You were the pitcher on the mound, down by 6, 7 runs. Doesn't matter. Nobody out, 2 outs, 1 out. I don't care. Instead, you just went after him the way that you would go after anybody else and struck him out. Like, dude, Lynch, I don't know that your job is on the line. So if you were to hit him, I think it would be we know what was going on. And then Q can go to the podium and go, well, we don't hit guys on purpose. That one he's a lefty going up against a lefty, and he was trying to execute inside, and he lost control of it. We would all know he's full of it.
The team would know.
But
That's
the team would know.
What matters
The
is
locker room would know.
Michael Garcia would know that you're standing up for him. And that's what it comes
down to. And then the next
to.
game, you certainly couldn't hit him the next game, Sterling, because you don't want to impact the game. As the Dodgers and Padres are hitting each other in the third inning with nobody on and nobody out.
Division rivals fighting for the first place spot in their own division.
Fighting for the division win and a pennant, and crucial games one way or another that can swing a division. And the Padres are like, yeah, you just hit Tatis, so Shohei's leading off. I don't care. We're hitting him. We'll put him on first. It's a big game.
They're the SEC. It just means more. It means more of those.
It means something.
They have more fire.
Yeah.
Think about, remember Gage Wood, the kid that threw the no-hitter?
Yeah, right.
The guy steps out and calls time, and he's pissed off at this guy because that's his mentality versus maybe the Royals pitchers, which they've been great this season, but it does bleed into the rest of the team when you're the ones that kind of have to police the game. The hitters cannot police baseball. It's always the pitchers because they have the baseball, and they're the ones throwing with the ability to hit batters. The batter can't. Michael Garcia can't, go and just start fist fight. I mean, George.
He's not going to go. He's not going to go cleats high, right? He doesn't play like that.
He's not going to. Who was the guy at third that George and him got into it?
Nettles.
Nettles. Greg Nettles.
Yeah.
So
Rugned Odor against Batista.
Yeah. Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez.
You literally can
Albert
count them
Bell
and
for no
remember
reason.
them on your hands.
Yeah.
Albert Bell for no reason.
Right. the whole thing with Michael and Jazz was two separate plays that were just benign. Benign from his standpoint, or from the standpoint of what he would have done. He got an elbow to the chops from Anthony Volpe when he was sliding into second. He didn't slide into second on the inside part of the bag where Volpe was. He slid into second on the outside part to put his hand down with his cleats and his legs 3-4 feet away from Volpe. And Volpe still threw an elbow into Garcia. And that pissed off Jazz. And then the throw down to third made Jazz mad or whatever. I do wonder this. I was thinking about this as we were talking about, the pitchers there. In that players only meeting, was that brought up as in like, hey, by the way, we need to step up and be better here for you guys, and you guys are helping lead the team. But how about putting one into Jazz's ribs for our guy Michael here, who's busting his ass all game? And you know who's bailed you out a number of times over at third? Michael Garcia. So how about putting one in Jazz's ribs to show that we are a team and we're not just pitchers and hitters over here, that we're all on the same team here, because you don't mess with one of our guys or one of your guys is going to get messed with, and especially the guy that's talking bleep. Michael's bailed you guys out at third base a lot, and he's the best offensive player on this team, and not once has anybody stepped up to stick up for him with that, loud mouth up there at the plate. That could have come up. Maybe clear the air a little bit from that standpoint. Because I'll tell you this, nobody was sticking up for Caitlin Clark with the fever, and then they went and got Sophie Cunningham, and she's been the enforcer. And I'll say to anybody that's on the Sun, and who was the player that number 4 for the Sun that tried to that had gone back and forth with Caitlin? You know what she doesn't want to do is fight a black belt in karate in Sophie Cunningham. That's the enforcer. Because, oh yeah, Sophie, you want to talk? Yeah, let's go. I will crane you. I'm
she
gonna
had
miss
someone in a headlock, and
I will. And she was just talking that talk.
Yeah,
she had her in the headlock, pushing her head, and just talking that talk.
If anyone remembers, it was Cam Newton versus Josh Norman at practice, where that you have the picture still of Cam Newton smiling while he's got Josh Norman by the face mask, and everyone's trying to pull Cam off Josh Norman, who started the fight.
Sophie was she's a basketball star, but she was also the youngest black belt female in Missouri history. She ain't the person to mess with. She's the enforcer, and she was actually doing some of that last night, and also a really phenomenal player.
Yeah,
and one hell of a model American. Is what I would say.
M-I-Z.
Go to break. the mound. We heard from Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Mike Caliendo and Jalen Watson. Travis Kelce saying that when asked, hey, I mean, I know it took a little bit or you had to decide last year, but has that maybe led you to believe that this isn't even your last year? And he said, I have 1 year left on this contract. I know that. Also said that he's down some weight, but don't believe everything you read on the internet. It ain't 25 pounds, but he's down some weight. I was going to say, like, it looks thinner, like the face looks thinner, but the waistline, I didn't really see much difference, but he says he feels good. Feels good.
Put me down for Royals winning 5-3 tonight.
Yeah, I mean.
Put me down.
I'll take 1-0.
Lock it.
Just any win.
Sterling stamp 5-3.
Any port in a storm.